live.
Yes, it's beer. It's good to go.
Yeah, we're about to go live talking about Paul's makeup. So yeah,
Paul's makeup, yeah.
yeah.
His
We live? Oh
hairdresser.
yes, we are. Oh come on, I should have said that, but you know, man.
welcome everyone to the 44th Home Theater Hub. Appreciate everyone joining us. As you can see, we got a full panel of guests back. Paul is back. What's going on, Paul? How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. I am rested from my vacation. Had a great time in Colorado, enjoying the mountains and doing some off-roading. And it's always more fun in someone else's vehicle than your own.
I would agree with that for sure. That way, if something breaks, you're not the one having to pay for it.
I don't worry about something breaking. I just don't want to clean anybody's car.
We went to some pretty. We were on a shelf road where there was a car at the bottom, flat as a pancake.
Okay.
Split off. Yeah. I mean,
so we almost didn't have Paul back, is what we're hearing.
It was a great time, though. It was
Glad you made it back.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for returning to the podcast. Mr. Ike, how are you, sir? How was your week?
Busy week, but good. No new movies, nothing. Just I don't even think I turned on anything in the home theater this week, which is kind of just embarrassing. But it's been a busy week, and I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know how it's already Thursday, to be honest with you. So I I wound up moving my office. So we wound up moving moving my office about, I don't know, maybe about 15 minutes north for the job that I do. And man, I tell you what, I didn't have to move. They hired movers, but it's still a ton of work. You got to pack everything and everything else. So just trying to button everything up. And we got Jeff returning again. Thank you, Jeff. You're becoming a regular on the show.
Yeah, glad to be here. I tried last week. We just had some technical difficulties, but
don't jinx us again.
I got right now.
I got StreamYard cocked and loaded. It's ready to go. So if this fails, this will be the last time that we use it. So, but yeah, no. Thanks again for joining. Sorry for the technical difficulties last week. Those that you did join, and then if those of you are looking as I'm looking, the two guys down at the bottom, they look very similar, right? This would be Jeff's brother, Mr. Dave. Mr. Dave, how are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh man, we appreciate you joining and wanting to share what we've heard about a fantastic theater from your brother. He's done some good bragging for you, so can't wait to get into that with you. So looking forward to that tour. So tell us a little bit about that rock climbing. What type of vehicle did you use there, Paul, for the rock climbing?
I don't remember. It was basically a lifted F-150. I think it was lifted. It was quite a bit. I think it was like a 12-inch or maybe 8 or 12-inch lift with 33-inch tires. So it was pretty up there, pretty tall. And the funny thing is we were on some technical stuff. Like I said, we were on a level 5, which, for people that really off-road, that's like, nothing for them, right? They're looking at those 7 and 8s, but there was this one spot that it was literally like a 5-foot drop, and this Jeep just turned and just went straight down it and just kept on rolling like nothing. And we're over there like, what the heck? Like, I'm spotting for him and making sure he's not bottoming out. And we never, knock on wood, we never bottomed out except for this one little area that looked as flat as a pancake. And we were just driving. Next thing you know, I don't know if we guessed that maybe a rock shot out, but man, all of a sudden we just hear this big clank, like we just bottomed out hard. We were looking at each other like, what the hell was that? We think.
So did they have like people breaking down and stuff like that? Did they have to get people towed, like winched out and stuff?
had someone life flighted out.
Oh,
So yeah, it's a legit area. So
yeah.
we were there whenever the life flight
That's
helicopter.
more than I was looking for. I was thinking maybe the vehicle might. Now we're talking about people being life flighted out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. It is no joke. It's yeah, it's a serious thing, and there's no, yeah, you're not. It's not a road that you just drive. You know, this
Wow.
is,
Wow.
like I said, it took us 3 hours to get 3 miles, and then once it went from a level 5 to your 3, we made like a 10-hour or 10 miles in like a couple hours comparatively. So that first section, we even had a truck that was in front of us that had a camper. He was just barreling through. And then he got to this one spot, that our first technical spot, because I thought, okay, this isn't too bad. And then when we saw this, I was like, are you sure this is a 3? That got turned around. And this guy, you could tell he off-roaded a lot, right? He had a
Wow.
camper, and he was like, nah, I'm not gonna risk it. And he turned around, and we kept on going. We cleared that one, and it was fun. And the videos, it's kind of, when you're outside the vehicle, it doesn't seem as bad because you see it and you see the mechanics and stuff like that. But when you're inside the vehicle, man, you feel like, oh God, we're about to fall off this ledge. And there was one time, because I was on the ledge side. I was looking over, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, you need to go left." He literally had tire hanging off. And
Oof.
I was like, "Yeah, no, you need to get over. You need to get over. That's too close."
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
was
guys
like,
are
that was-
skydiving on a cliff, basically.
yeah, basically, I was full pucker factor that one. I was like, dude, I didn't say anything. I was like, no, you need to go left. Go left.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, and I'm glad you're here to return back to us.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it
so
was fun. It was great. We saw some wild foxes. Yeah, it was pretty funny because we saw these wild foxes, beautiful animals. I got one picture of them in my super long 8-minute video that I made with all our little collage photos, and there was someone there that you could tell was a little Colorado high. And
so Richard wants to know if you bungee jump also.
no, I have not done the bungee jumping thing. I've done the 200-foot ripcord thing though. I have done that.
It says bungee driving, so maybe that's what he's talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
Diving.
But this lady went to go pet it, because they look gorgeous, and they look like, I was like, and Jessica, my girlfriend, she was like, don't pet. That's a wild animal. And
Yeah.
she was like, I wasn't going to pet it. And we were all like, nah, she was definitely trying to reach out to pet. And yeah, not a second later, one kind of bumped the other. And oh man, you're talking, yeah, they were
They're going at it.
Yeah, they were brother siblings. I don't know what, but they went at it for a second. I was like, yeah, that could have been her hand.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, man, good call. It was great. It was a great time. I slept in 40-degree weather every night. Perfect.
That's perfect sleeping weather.
I
Exactly.
know. I was like it was amazing. So
yeah, especially for me, I live in South Florida, so it's 90 degrees at 3 a.m. here. So I'm hearing a lot of people saying how the temperature is changing up
Yeah,
north. And
Texas is starting to cool like crazy, man. At least the DFW area. So
yeah, that's
and then we
it's
come
good that
back
it's
here,
cooling down.
like 95 degrees and 98, and I was like, oh man.
So, Mr. Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're new to the show, so as much as you want to share, what got you into the hobby? What
You're looking at him as my brother, Jeff.
your brother.
Like him, I mean, my first job was at Circuit City back in 1999 in the media section, and I thought that was, the coolest thing ever. And before I worked there, like most people in home theater, I started off in car audio, and I actually had a system in my car before I had my driver's license, like Alpine and TX subs and all that stuff. I used Jeff's discount because he was, had already been working there for a while. And then, once you start working there and start venturing over to home theater and you can get stuff at cost. And I bought, Jeff, I think I got these at open box, those Polks, because didn't you return them or something?
Yeah. So fun.
Oh, you
So
guys had
David
the
has,
brother tandem going.
yeah. So the speakers he has in his living room are my like RT800s I bought like mid 90s or late, I don't know. Yeah. Right before he
I mean, I
started.
got
And then I returned them to upgrade to like a bigger set, and he bought them and he still has them, which is kind of
Yep.
cool. Almost 25,
So they're
26
25 years old at least now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And actually, the right one just recently blew, but I'm limping on until I want to upgrade. But yeah, I still have that whole Polk series in the living room, and I put a home theater in my bedroom at my mom's house, and then ever since then, I've had some kind of iteration of a home theater in every place I've lived. And 3 years ago, now that I bought a new house and the basement was completely unfinished, and I was like, you know what, this is a good opportunity to try and have a legit home theater. And I've been, especially during the pandemic, I found all these YouTube channels, Youthman especially, showing all these things that people had done, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I never even thought you could get to that level without hiring someone professional that's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to do some of this stuff. So I was definitely inspired by all that. And also another YouTube channel, it's called Life Uncontained. And it's just this couple that bought a shipping container, and he built a house, and he had no background in any trades. And that also is like, well, if he can do it, maybe I can, do it in my basement with a home theater. So, I moved in, and since it took about 9 months to build the house and everything, and I had the blueprints, I had time, especially again, this is still during COVID, wait around for sales and pick up speakers and my projector at a discounted price, because right when I was looking for a projector, JVC had just launched the laser projector. So a bunch of people were trying to unload their bulb projectors. So Jeff actually found someone, was it a friend you knew? And he was just using his NX5 in his like game room, and it had like 80 hours on it.
Yeah.
So,
He lives outside of Nashville, and he had two projectors, and yeah, I mean, this one was only being used very, very sparingly.
yeah. So overall that time I accumulated all of the equipment, and just was stacking it up in my apartment, waiting to move into my house. And January of 2022, I had everything ready to go. I had it like the blueprint of my house, like mapped out how I was going to do it, and just went down there, had a bunch of wood, and started framing. And I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah,
So,
putting walls together doesn't seem that hard, right? You just measure, make sure it's square, and unless you're doing doors and stuff like that, it's not very difficult. You can build them on the floor and flip them up, or like me, I actually put the two the top rail and the bottom rail, because I was doing it by myself, so it's hard to lift the whole wall up,
Yeah,
and I just wedged the stud in between, long as it's straight and not bowing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not terrible.
I mean, the basic framing of the whole thing wasn't too difficult. It was like you're saying, like then getting into doors. I did all the electrical. The installation wasn't hard. It's just annoying working with insulation. Yeah, it was just a lot too, because it's not a small basement. So I can share.
Are you an electrician by trade, or you just pick that up on YouTube?
At all. I will say though, before I closed off the walls, and I have a few friends that know about this stuff, and I had one of them come over and just like, I'm not gonna ruin my house. He's like, nah, you're fine. And then I had an actual professional electrician come over and check over everything before I close the walls off. He's like, yeah, you're fine. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's one thing that I didn't risk. I wanted to make sure that I hired somebody.
I don't do electricity. Nope.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about that is now, out of all the trades that I've learned to some degree, I feel most comfortable with electrical. I don't know why. It just all makes sense to me now.
Nah.
Yeah, those three-way switches and all that stuff. Like, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Just
In theory, I know how it works. I can do it in
Yeah.
my head. When the electrician is working on it, I can basically tell what he's doing.
you can follow him,
But
right?
but I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I'll do
The
everything.
consequences are pretty
I'll
great.
do everything else so I can pay the electrician. I will
Yeah.
save, do everything DIY, and go pay him to come do his job. I'm not doing
So,
it.
Paul, when you built your barcade, did you add any electrical stuff or anything like that, or was it all already done?
I did some stuff. Yeah, I just used Smurf tube. Yeah, I mean, I took a couple years of electrical training in college and in a vocational school.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I actually there's a house in, I forgot where it's at, that me and like 5 other students actually completely wired. So
Yeah, we in Baltimore when I went to school, there was a vocational school. Then obviously electrical was one of the trades, and that's what they would do. They would go and that's how they trained them. They would go to like an empty house and just
yeah, and we did it in the damn
doing
winter. So like the worst time to, because there's no walls, there's no heat.
The
You're in
worst
there
time to get
freezing
a
your arse
shock.
off, and you're like trying to work with this wire with, and it's like, oh god. But yeah, the codes change though, so that's where you really have to. I mean, by law, you really need an electrician to sign off on any work that you do, mostly for insurance. Because
Yeah.
if something does happen and it comes back to, oh, you had this one outlet broken, and who installed that, then you're liable for that.
right. So logistically, Jeff and Dave, do you guys still live in the same town? Are you do you still live close to each other? Do you frequent each other's theater a lot?
We live. So David still lives just outside of our hometown. So he lives about an hour north of Cincinnati, and then I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. So door to door, we're right at what, about 5 hours? You think?
It's less than that.
Maybe.
I can do it in 4 still. Yeah, it's 4. I'm like
You
a
can do
half
your house and my house in 4.
Huh?
He
Okay.
can do.
All right.
He can do it in 4.
Yeah. I didn't even see that much.
Yeah, it's,
That's brother talk right there.
I know, right?
You take me 5, I can do it.
Yeah. Mhm.
but to answer your other question, yeah, he's been to my theater. What, you've been in here about 3-4 times since we lived
In the
here.
new house, yeah, at least 3, I'd say. And then at your old place, a bunch, yeah. So
Yeah,
pretty-
he saw my old room, or my old room at the old house, and then I've been to his new house. We've been there twice since the theater's been done, and once when it was in the rough stages.
Yeah, you
Okay.
came right after drywall. Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Jerry did. Yeah.
So do you guys like compare notes with movies and stuff like that? Is that like something you talk about on the regular, like, hey, I just saw this, or
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, if it's anything new, like a new release, after I watch my theater, I'll text Jeff and be like, this was either really good, bad, whatever. But like just recently, I think I told him I got the Bloodsport 4K from like Germany, and I'm like, you gotta get. Did I tell you about? Wait, no, it was League of Your Own that I told you. That was also really good. Yeah. But I watched the Bloodsport in 4K, and I couldn't believe how good it was for such an old movie. It probably had a budget of like $25,000 or whatever it was.
That is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. I didn't even
Yeah, I
know
was going to say, Paul mentioned that last time.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know it was in 4K, man.
Yeah, you got to import it now.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I was wondering. I was like, man,
Yeah, like,
that
man.
is one of my favorite movies. So,
It's worth it. The 4K, the picture looks great, and it has Atmos too. And I mean, they use the height channels. It's pretty crazy.
oh wow, might be worth the import.
Yeah.
When did that come out? I wonder if it's on Kaleidoscape.
I think it was last year sometime. I think it's a German import. There's a few different versions. The covers. I think there's a steel book, and I got like the digibook or whatever it is. I actually have it. I'll show it to you guys when we go down there because I have it displayed on my. You'll see it on outside my door. One thing I was going to mention about go ahead, Jeff. What are you going to say?
No, finish. You're good.
I was going to say another thing that I never. This is my first projector, and I remember being in Jeff's old room, his old house, and this is what sold me on projectors, because before, I mean, they were okay, but you had one version of that. I think it was. Did you have the same? Is it the NX7 still at the old house?
Yeah,
Jeff,
they had
I
the
think.
old house too. Mm-hmm.
We were watching Gladiator in 4K on that, and I remember just watching it and being like, "Oh my! Like this looks like like I could see the detail in the clothing on everybody and everything." That really blew me away, and I was like, "Wow, projectors have come a long way from what I remember." I'm like, I gotta make my next room have a projector. It was incredible. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, no, it's not like you said, the projectors have definitely come a long way. I mean, and if you put a process, even if you put a processor behind them, it gets even better too. So a lot of people are video files. I know Ike prefers the video over the audio. So for you, Jeff, what do you prefer, video or audio?
Audio
If you had
before
this,
video. Yeah.
yeah, I'm the same. What about you, Dave?
Same thing, audio for sure. It's like car audio, that's what started me, the bass.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I know that's Paul's answer too, right? The audio.
Yeah. If I had to choose, for sure.
Yeah. I'm like 70-30, right? I could, long as the sounds are flying around me, I could deal with a not as detailed picture, but I can tell you what, I am a kind of a movie snob. I don't own a movie, well, other than like 3D, that's not in 4K, right? So I don't, I
Yeah.
won't buy anything that's not in 4K. I refuse to unless it's 3D.
Yeah, like for me, if the video is good, I can watch it, for example, in 5.1, even if it's not a 7 point whatever or 9 point, right? I would enjoy the video. But you can give me -5 hertz. I would enjoy it for the first couple of minutes. And then if it's a movie that lasts a little longer than the average TV show, I'm just like, ah, man. If it's not clear, yeah, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah,
That's
no, I definitely, I could definitely get away with watching it on, something that's not, as sharp as a Christie. Let's put it, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I have no problem watching it on a pixel shifter or anything like that.
I'm more of I love the audio because of the impact and the volume and the bass. But when it comes to the video, yeah, everybody wants the best of everything, right? But what I want in my video is just size, as to give that immersion. Other than that, yeah, I don't need it to be 4,000 lumens or 20,000 lumens. It's like, hey, as long as it gives you that immersion because of the size and the scale, it really, I mean, that's what I like about the theater aspect of it. Because I have an
Yeah.
OLED. I have a high-end
When-
OLED.
When it comes to sports, there's one thing so I don't have to watch sports in surround sound, right? I can use the TV speakers and all that stuff. I know that obviously you get more sounds and stuff like that when you do incorporate that on your your receiver or your processor or whatever. But one thing, I become a video snob then, because I cannot stand watching a TV that leaves a trail behind the runner. Like you see the ghosting going behind it, it drives me absolutely insane. I cannot. And then if the ball like flashes, when they throw the ball or something like that, and it's not a smooth I have to adjust that perfect. So when I watch sports, I am a video snob. I don't care about the audio when I'm watching sports. So how about you guys? Do you guys partake in any sports?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you, Don. Like that's the one thing I miss about my old Pioneer, Elite Curo I had, the plasma. It was it was amazing for sports. Like it was, I have not seen anything that looks as good, even OLED, like from the motion standpoint. So when I watch sports, it it's you can really tell between my Sony and my TCL the differences in motion and
Yeah.
just the processing, and also you really notice it from the broadcast, right? Like
Yeah.
Fox, the CBS, the ESPN, the ABC. Like ABC has this funky thing they're doing lately. Their audio is horrible,
Yep.
and some of their, the video is pathetic. Like
I
it just, you
agree
can't.
too. Yeah.
Sometimes you
It's
can go to that whenever they're messing with it. You can go to that AAC, the secondary audio channel that they have on your TV. You can try that to see if, because yeah, sometimes they do some weird stuff and it like messes it up so bad that you have to literally go in and select the second audio channel, and it's
okay.
different.
Good to
So
know.
you'll next time you do that, you try that out, and it's a lot of feature that people don't know. It's like, yeah, there's multiple audio channels on that live stream stuff where you can select it even over the coax cable on the antenna.
Oh.
So, but sometimes it's like really horrible, or or it might be only they use that secondary channel as a different language only. But sometimes, yeah, it's different
Yeah.
transmission types. So you can always
So sound
try
off in the chat. What do you guys think? Video or audio? And sports versus movies. Sound off in the chat. How about you, Dave? Do you watch sports? I see
Yeah,
you got the Cincinnati shirt on, so I'd imagine so.
definitely. Um, I'm more of a college football guy over NFL. Watch a lot of the games, and I'm big on combat sports, definitely boxing, and I watch a decent amount of UFC too. But boxing is my favorite sport, actually. I don't know if you can see
So
up there. It's Manny Pacquiao shorts over there, and then Gennady Golovkin over there. So yeah, I've been to a lot of fights too.
So do you watch those? Do you watch sporting events in your theater, or do you watch them on a TV?
Usually just on a TV. I've only watched a few things in the theater. I've got Sony the A80J 77-inch, the OLED. I think that's what it
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yep.
that
Is
in
that
the
like
room.
2 years back, something like that? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 2 or 3. And then I have a 70-inch, just like a Samsung QLED in the basement by my pool table that I watch a lot of stuff on. It gets the job done. It's fine.
Yeah.
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 And we were talking about video earlier. I think, I know there's always this debate back and forth. Like, do you do a projector or do you go, display, right? And I don't think like you can, I don't know, chastise anybody for doing one or the other. But like, I think in my opinion, if you're trying to replicate a theater, hence your home theater, you need a projector, right? Like it's something about the look that a projector puts on a screen. And I'm having this right now back and forth with a coworker who asked me to help him put together a theater room. This guy sold. This is crazy. I'm not making this up. This guy's been collecting video games. He's my age, so 46. Collecting video games since like they came out and never got rid of stuff, and it's been a vintage gamer. He has sold $40,000 worth of his collection in the last like 2 months to
Wow.
fund this like room he wants to build, and he still has stuff that's worth like at least that. He has rare games that you see on these collector shows that are still factory sealed. He's got some Nintendo game.
The original Zelda game's worth a lot of money with the 5 screws on the back. Yeah, it's worth like, God, 15, 20 grand.
Yeah, he's got a couple that are worth
more. Yeah.
And he's getting ready to sell all that. So anyways, he's helping me. Like he's asking me to help him put this theater room together. And I was telling him like, let's do the projector, boom, boom, boom. And now he's like, well, what about this 115-inch TCL? Should I do that instead? I'm like, dude, it's whatever you want, man. Like, but here's the difference: your audio is going to suffer because we can't get that center channel behind the screen. And I was like, but make the call. But he, he's a haggler, and I don't know if there's 2 editions or versions of it out yet, but like he's found one that's you can get for like under $5,000 now. That's that 115 inch. Maybe it's the old one, or I don't know. But
Oh wow.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. But all I will say is like it's gonna be hard to get that thing upstairs. So you got to keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
the question is, what size room does he have? Right?
I
Because
think after
if you're
we
putting
frame it out,
115, you know the old saying, throwing a hot dog down the hallway, right? If you're if you're if you're trying to put a 115-inch screen on a 12-foot wide wall, right? It's the 12 or 13 foot wall may dwarf it, right? So it just
yeah,
depends, what dimensions he's going to be doing for that is what I would say. And then that would go back to the video portion for us is the immersion, the larger screen, right? That's I'm with you on that one. Just depending on what size room he's got. If he's putting that 115 on like an 8-foot wall, then yeah, they probably could get away with that.
And
yeah.
maybe has he gotten to actually experience like a projector and a home theater setup, like outside of the movie theater, right? Because
Yeah.
those are really big. But maybe if you get to sit in a home theater environment and actually see a projector for a few hours, because I think everybody thinks they love TV and that they would want a TV until you sit in a room with a proper projector setup. You're like,
Yeah, and we even know a guy from the Daily Hi-Fi show that Mr. Fred, he swore for the longest time that he would never get a projector, and he finally tried it, and he's like, I'm never going back, because of the sheer size. He went wall to wall with his
That's
screen,
cool.
so it brings you in, it brings your immersion in. What do you think about that, Dave?
I agree for sure. I mean, I was leaning towards the TV until, seeing Jeff's and how clean it was and everything. And that was like, and having the ability to have the speakers behind the screen is a huge game changer. I mean, I basically, when I figured out the dimensions of my room, I'm like, what is the biggest screen I can get in here? Is it, and then that's what determined, is it going to be 16 by 9 or 235 to 1? What's going to, be the biggest? And I went with 142 inches, and it's pretty much wall to wall.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and look, the reflection, right? The projector, that's what we see every day, right? We're seeing reflections, right? So, it's not a direct view that we're getting back, which is the TV, right? So we're seeing reflections of the light source. So, I agree with you, Jeff, that, unless you don't have the space, then you go with a projector, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
That
And he does
that's
like, yeah, and like to what Ike was saying, I'm gonna get him. I've told him to come over. He wants to hear my room and stuff. So we'll make that happen first. But the room size gonna have about 15 wide, but only about 18 deep. The good thing is the back of the room, because we've looked at it, like he'll be able to put everything behind the room. So we'll get the throw distance where we need to. But I think you're right. I think once he hears or sees it in my room, I think he'll change his mind, because he's really, wanting everything kind of out of sight and stuff. And I said, well, when it comes to your speakers, your center channel is going to have to go somewhere, unless, you decide not to do it and stuff. So, yeah, I'll keep you all updated on it. Maybe we'll do a tour once we get it done.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm interested to see where that leads to. So I have another question for you guys. Processor or AVR? What are your choices for that, and why? So, as you guys know, that I have a processor. Not saying that the AVR won't get the job done whatsoever, because I know there's a lot of people with an AVR out there that's getting the job done. Paul, what's your thoughts on that, processor or AVR?
I'm bougie when it comes to this. I like XLR connections. So it has to have XLR, which is mostly found on processors. So that's the only reason for me. Not and it's because my dad does music, right? So uh, I'm familiar with pro audio stuff, and a lot of people buy these bougie XLR cables, and I'm like, man, you can get a 12 channel snake cable for like $60. Like, what?
Yeah.
It does the same thing. Like, I don't understand why people are spending thousands of dollars on, you know, these things, and it's like, and it's just easier. It's a more confirmed connection. You're not. But other than that, like I said, it's just a bougie thing for me. I just like that XLR look. I like I like the way it easily plugs in. There's no question. It's snapped in. Um, but other than that, it's that it. I don't mind AVRs. I mean, if I needed one for like the Barcade, if I ever upgrade to surround sound on that, I might just go with a cheap AVR just because it's like, yeah, I'm rarely going to be watching movies in there, but, you know,
How about you, Ike? What do you think?
Hands down, I think it's processor, right? In my use case, I already have devices that can do everything else that I would want to do for my AVR, right? Because I had a Denon 4700H and then switched over to the AVM 70, and I mean, it gives you more flexibility, right, with the power that you can use on your speakers. So you can go out there and get as much of a powerful amp as you can afford, and then drive your speakers to whatever extent you want to. You know, you don't really have that option with AVR. And then what else are
Unless it
you
has
gonna do?
pre-outs,
Yeah,
but then
except
you
it
wind
has
up using it
pre-outs,
as
and
a
then
yeah.
yeah, so then you're still using amps, right? So
Hmm.
external amps. So I mean, then what else are you gonna do with the AVR? I'm not streaming with it. I'm not listening to music with it.
You can use Zone 2,
Yeah,
well, and there's
Mr. Chana.
other,
yeah. I gotta get
yeah,
Channel to set it up for me.
yeah, that's fine. There's one other advantage of a processor that, while at first it is more expensive, but it depends, right? It depends on the budget level, right?
Right.
But um, one thing that's really cool about a processor is if you have an amp that goes bad, well, you just
Yeah,
replace
you
that
just
one
replace
amp.
the amp, right? Yep.
It's like, oh, maybe you have a 3 channel, a 2 channel, whatever, instead of, oh, shoot, now I got to buy the whole brand new AVR, So but it's more upfront cost, obviously, but
Yeah.
it, it's
Look, I
something
mean,
to, right.
I have the Denon 6300, and that thing. I mean, to me, yes, I had to, obviously turn it up a lot to get it to where it hit reference, right? But it was capable of definitely pushing out a very loud sound, but that thing cooked, right? I mean, I could fry an egg on that thing once, once it got up once I drove it that hard. I like the extra headroom, that I have with either an external amp. So if I went AVR, I definitely would want one that had pre-outs on the back so that I could add extra power at least to
Yep.
the LCR, right?
Yep.
And
And you
then
can still do that in an AVR, technically. I mean,
yeah,
in a
that's what
lot.
I'm saying.
Yeah. So
Yeah, if I
Yeah,
stuck
because
with the AVR, I would definitely want to, bypass the amps that's in
still
it
I
do.
just
mean,
for the extra
but
room.
this new generation of AVRs that are coming out, they're coming out pretty
Yeah,
packed, right? They're
that
coming
new
out
Denon
really
is a
strong.
beast.
Yeah, they look like it's. However, I think it's just going to be a device that does so many things that you don't end up using. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
No, I
has
mean, look,
everything. I'm like, I don't stream music with it. I don't stream my TV shows with
I
it.
don't up
It has
I don't
so
up
much.
convert my video.
Yeah,
I,
it
I
has
wish they would
so
just come out
much.
with this basic stuff. Like you said, there's
Yeah.
too many things on there that, at least not in my use case. How about you, Jeff? You what do you prefer? Processor, AVR?
Yeah, processor all the way. I haven't had a AVR power my theater in probably since 2011 is the last time I had one,
Oh
and I had
wow.
I think it was a Denon then, and I don't early on, like one of my first beefy receiver I remember was I had an Onkyo Integra when Onkyo and Integra were the same; they weren't like separate entities. And then I had a Denon, and that would have been probably late '90s. Like that's what the new receivers coming out, like what Ike said, that's what those remind me of those AVRs from the late '90s and early 2000s, where they were beefy and the amps in them were every bit as good. But I think I just have all the points everybody else made. I agree with. I like having everything separate. I like how I by doing that I can throw 500 watts at my front speakers and only 100 everywhere else, and everything's separate. And if one goes out, I replace it. And I just think my system sounds more dynamic. Just my personal preference.
Yeah. How about you, Dave? What about you? What do you? We're gonna find out in a little bit what you choose, right?
Yeah. I mean, ideally, it's definitely a processor. And in this room, this is my first processor. I've always had AVRs outside of that, Denon and Onkyo. And I agree with Jeff that the big thing I've noticed is the dynamic of it. It makes, sending everything to an external amp and having that do the work. And the heat, I mean, the processor stays, pretty cool. You'll see in my rack how I have it set up, and I've got fans back there, and being able to separate the amplifiers of the processor, you can, it's not all internal. So you're not gonna be able to fry an egg on it, like you said. But I mean, AVRs, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, if you have to make a compromise, and that's where you spend a little less money and do the AVR and, get some better subs, I would do that though. I think sometimes when you dive into this and, like Jeff's friend here, like if he's just stepping in, his foot into the pool for the first time in home theater, and you start getting into processors and all these other amps, I think a lot of people get lost in that too, and it's a little overwhelming. So I think an AVR might be a solution for a lot of entry level people, though. Just my
Yeah,
thoughts.
absolutely. I was just gonna say that. If you have a budget, right? Let's just say you're trying to stay within, 10,000, stay around there, 10, 15,000. It may be worth it, to go AVR, you know what I mean? To try to get really good subwoofers, to try to get, you know, uh, decent speakers that'll push, you may be able to drive that budget a little bit farther to get better results, right? So compared to buying an expensive processor. So yeah, it's definitely got to do with some preferences, right? So and use cases. So
Yeah.
we got someone from
All the way from
Africa in the
Uganda.
chat. Yeah, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. They ask SBL or JBL, excuse me, SP55 or Marantz AV10. I've not heard the JBL. I've definitely heard the Marantz.
Yep.
I know a lot of people that actually have purchased the Marantz and are very happy with it.
Yeah.
The JBL, before the new not Arcam, what's the other one? The Anthem. Before the new Anthem came out, a lot of people were jumping on board
JBL.
with the JBL, right?
Yep.
And then as soon as the Anthem came out, what was it, the 70 and the 90, everybody was jumping ship, right? They were going back over to Anthem for all the people that I know that purchased. So if I were to pick, I would say Marantz. And the
Yeah.
reason I would say Marantz is because it's rock solid. I mean, it's you're not going to have a lot of issues with it. You know what I mean? They definitely do their R&D on on these things. What do you think, Ike?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was just saying that ideally I would say JBL, but for this particular device, I think the AV10 is a newer processor. The SPD 555 is probably 4 years old versus the AV10, which is a newer device. And I think the channel count is about the same thing. The JBL is 16 channel and the AV10 is what, 15.4? So I don't think there's much of a difference, but I would think I would go with having a newer device.
JBL's a 16 channel.
The 16 channel, but the Marantz is
Yeah.
15.4. But I think the
Right.
JBL is older because I just tried to pull it up on Google. I think it's 2020 or so. So yeah, I will go with just feature set, and except if the price point is just drastic, right? Except if you're finding like this super crazy deal on the SPD 55, and then also you're not worried about HDMI 2.1 because I don't think that has it.
Yeah, I don't think it does either.
Yeah, I don't think it has it. So I would say similar price point, a newer device. I'll go with the Marantz. Now, obviously, there are people who tell you that Marantz has this signature sound that you find mixed reviews about, you know. But yeah, Marantz.
Do you have an
And I
opinion
think
on this one, Jeff?
I was gonna say I also think the Marantz, if I remember correctly, don't they now offer Dirac as an option for room correction on those as like an upgrade? But even if
Yeah.
they don't, I think Odyssey has come a long way
Yeah.
to where it was before. And I think yeah, so and I kind of agree with Ike. It's a newer product, and I have not read anybody not like it. So
So the
that would be
AV10
my.
actually offers both uh,
It
Yeah, I
does.
think you
Okay.
have both
Dirac
options, right? Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Odyssey. Yep.
Yeah, which is cool, right? It's like you get both options there. So I would say I would say to him, if you can get an AVM7, you get that instead. But that's not what the question was. We were comparing these two guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No. How about you, Paul? What do you think? Do you have any opinions on this one?
Well, a lot of people don't know that JBLs are more professional
Yeah.
products than Marantz. Marantz are consumer products still. So believe it or not, a JBL will have better overall underlying components in it. But yeah, with an
Okay.
older model, it's going to be, probably not have as much features per se. If you're just doing your basic Dolby Atmos, um, you're not going to notice a difference. But the Marantz does have additional features. One of them being the 4-channel like bass management
Yeah.
stuff capability. You can do either the more advanced Odyssey, and or you can. Those are additional costs, of course. So you got to think of that. We're just removing cost. We're just asking which one's better. Um, like component wise, the JBL is going to be that's a professional, centric. Like I would not be surprised if that JBL comes off the same line as the Storm or the Trinov or like that, because they're more pro audio type of gear. It's put it in, it lasts indefinitely type of deal.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying ideally I would go with JBL, but
Yeah, but the
since this
feature set
particular
is
model,
yeah,
yeah, now if you told me the 58, like Patrick just said, has HDMI 2.1, if the price point is similar and the channel count is
yeah.
similar, yeah, I'll
Well,
go
you got
JBL.
you got let's see, and I'm just the JBL has Chromecast and AirPlay, more of a professional feature set, not your standard stuff. The Marantz has HEOS, uh, like I said, the 55. It's very generic, more of a installer interface. Your Marantz is going to be a little bougier on your GUI. You do have 2.1 versus in the Marantz versus a 2.0B in the JBL. And yeah, it's you're looking at 15.4 channels versus 16 channels in the JBL, which I don't really know what they mean by that. It must be like an extra voice of God thing for Oral 3D, which may not mean nothing.
Yeah, and the
Well, no,
the
it should just
SDP
be
58.
15 15, and then one subwoofer, right? Shouldn't that be what it is?
Now the
You got
JBL
your
SDP
Yeah,
58.
that might be what it is. But
yeah,
yeah, the Marantz has the four independent, possible four independent um, subwoofer things,
right. Mhm.
and one of them you can use as a bass with the bass shaker type of thing. So there are a lot of features in there. If you're wanting, it would be the AV10 for a consumer, just because it's newer. It's not necessarily a better product. It's just
Yeah.
there's a lot more features crammed in that thing.
Now,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
don't know
looking
if
at the
they've had.
newer one, though, if you're looking at the SDP 58, I just pulled it up on Audio Advice. It's 6,900, which is around the same price point as the AV10, and still has
Yeah,
16 channel count, but doesn't look to have 4 counts for subwoofers. So at that point, I think it's just about brand and preference and what you really want to
yeah,
do with it.
yeah. Big Jack says they're both on ASR and the
Oh,
AV10 measures better, but
okay.
I mean, yeah, okay, but are you going to be able to audibly hear the difference? I know.
Right.
I mean, I love measurements. As an engineer, I love that, but it's like you also have to consider.
The thing for me that decides it, and I don't know, I don't want to talk bad about the JBL, but I just know that Marantz is rock solid.
Yeah,
You're not
it
going to run into
works.
very many bugs.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I know there was a little bit of. I don't know if there's been firmware updates, but I know there was a little bit of when the JBL first came out, there was some issues still out there on the forums, and that's not to say that not any processor's not going to have an issue, right? You're always going to have something because the public has nowadays become the beta testers, right? So it's they don't go through the full
Nope.
R&D as they used to, right? So
both
how
both
about
of them are a safe bet, but yeah, I mean, if you were to just go feature set alone, yeah, the AV10 has just more. It's newer, but
Okay, so quickly we have one more question. I think this should be easy to knock out. Motion, thanks for the question. Do acoustic diffuser panels make a difference in a dedicated home theater? Resounding yes. I think I can
so?
answer for everyone.
No, I bet you can't. There's going to be one opposition here,
If
Mr.
properly
Paul.
placed, if
no,
properly
I'm not. That
designed,
that question is, do they make a difference? Absolutely, they make a
yes.
difference.
Okay.
They,
Yes.
but do you need diffusion over absorption?
Yeah, I'm not going into that
If
rabbit hole.
you're going for looks, and yes, it makes there's differences in them, but it's like it's so minute comparatively. But I mean, you see it because it looks better, right? I mean, art things that have dimensional characteristics look better, but it's not gonna. If you did all absorption because you were trying to be on the cheap, and then someone came in and replaced a third of them or half of them with diffusion, you're not gonna be like, oh my god, they're so much better. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But someone would say, holy crap, this looks amazing compared to just all flat black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, don't
that's where
do
I stand.
yeah,
Oh,
don't
absolutely, it
don't
makes
go
a
on the
difference.
extreme. Don't have too much absorption and don't have too much diffusion. And you have to understand your room,
Yeah. See,
so
on me, I'm like, I hate when people say don't do too much absorption. I have never seen a room that's had too
too
much
much
absorption
absorption. I
ever.
I guess so. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of integrators and calibrators talk about it, that they've gone into the rooms and they've just been
It just
way too
sounded
dead.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some rooms can be like super dead, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. If you just line your whole entire room with 4-inch,
Well, yeah,
rock
that's
wool or something like that,
yeah.
because that's what
your
some people do.
average.
They just
Your average person is not going to do that, but yeah, that if you 100% covered everything with 6 inches, it might sound a little weird in there. You hear your heartbeat, like, what is that noise? Oh
oh
wait,
man.
that's my blood pumping. Crap.
So I know Jeff, you're on a time constraint here. So and I know you'd like to see your brother's theater again. So why don't we get transitioning to that so that we can show everyone,
Sounds good.
this theater that you guys are that Jeff has bragged about to us for
Yeah.
several weeks now. So I can't wait to see this. I've never seen it. First time we've seen it. So I like it like this. So are you going to use an iPad, or are you going to call in with your phone, or what are you going to do
He's
here?
I was
gonna
going
call
to
it.
use my phone. If you want, I actually pulled a couple pictures.
Oh
Of
yeah,
just,
let's go through those.
if you want to see that. So I was going to share my screen here.
Yep. Do that, and I'll pull it up. Hit the share, and it will come up.
There we go. Okay, yeah. So this is just the
Okay.
first part because
Let
I
me-
had
Let me
the
Hold
blue-
on one
put it on
second.
the
He's got
screen.
to
Yeah.
get situated here. There we go.
Oh,
So I had the blueprints to my house before I moved in, and I was already like conjuring up this thing. So
Wow.
this is just kind of the basic overall layout. You walk in, there's a hallway here, false wall for speakers, false wall back here for speakers. The rack sits right here. There's actually another mini rack right here for this. This is like I have a pool table and stuff here. So it runs all the speakers that are in this area.
Sounds like we need to get a full, not just a home theater tour. It sounds like we need to get a basement tour.
I know.
I,
Right?
the rest of the basement's a little bit of a mess. Jeff, did I even tell you we finally got the bathroom finished most of the
Good.
way? Yeah. And then the other thing too, the projector's out of the room. It's in this false wall as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that helps out a lot, and with the equipment out of there. So that's really good.
I like the way that entryway's set up. It's like,
It's pretty awesome.
yeah, you got kind of two entryways there.
Hold on, I'm going to switch. There we go. Share.
You ought to just surprise them, dude, and just show it to them on the video before you show pictures. That's what
Well, we won't go too far into it. I just want to see that was literally coming from concrete.
Show us some build stuff that you did.
Okay, so
There we
this
go.
this is where we started, just nothing, and I just started framing out, the wall. You can see there too, like for my center channel, and this is my pool table room. I'm angling, so it's like not just shooting straight across, trying to get some kind of direction towards the listening position of the pool room. And this is the framing inside of the theater, and I put backer boxes on all the end walls here.
Very nice.
This is like the corner. This is the hallway right here. That's the false wall. That's all the sheetrock, all the insulation. Yay. That's the other back end of the basement. That's where all the wires are.
This is some good craftsmanship for someone that hasn't, you got double studs here for doorways. You got, this is some nice craftsmanship for someone that's not in the trade of this.
Thanks.
So I'm sure a lot of people want to know. And Don also wants to know, how long did it take you to do all of this?
So the framing, all the electrical, it was nearly 3 months, I'd say, about 2.5, 3 months. I think we did drywall the end of March. So yeah, a little less than 3 months. And then actually, Stephen Smith gave me the idea on because the big thing, I wanted to make the room wider, but this steel beam here was just, I was limited by that because I don't want to have a big foot dip in the room. So I just piggybacked off that and used a 2x6 and did staggered studs. And I saw that he did that in his room. Steven did. And it's unbelievable how much those staggered studs keep the sound out. I mean, you can obviously still hear it, but pretty significant how much of a difference that can make in sound.
Thank
And
you,
then
God.
go ahead.
We
And
make
then
fun of Juan because he's 3 years into doing this part.
gotcha. Okay. I did a little bit less than that.
This guy's like, I don't even know how to use a hammer. Yeah, it took me 3 months.
No, my framing went up pretty quick. So I mean, I did all that fairly quick.
Yeah, 9 months, right?
It's
No,
the
I have pictures of that stuff being done fairly quick. But go ahead. This is the Dave show, not the Don show.
Yeah.
And then obviously insulation, and then I did the mass loaded vinyl over everything on top of the studs.
Oh, nice.
And then one unique thing I did that I've never seen anyone else do this, and I didn't even know if it was really going to work, knowing that I didn't, my first time doing any of this, is the Y channels here and actually the back surrounds. If you can see, I don't know how much that's coming up, but I actually angled them out and took like a laser and tried to get them, because I don't want them popping out too much, but enough that's not shooting across the room. It's actually trying to get to the main listening position. The rears do that too. I think I have a picture of that next. Yeah, you can kind of tell there. It's coming out of the wall. When it's drywalled, you can see a lot better. So I guess I'll cut it off there so you can,
So talk about that. Don't cut it off there, because this is where construction gets interesting, right? So
yeah.
Can you zoom in on that, or go back to your wides, because that picture shows a little bit better on the wides.
Yeah.
So zoom in a little bit. So let's talk about construction here. What did you actually do? It looks like you built the frame there, right? And then you built another frame on the outside of that, and basically ripped the top and the bottom board at a 45. Correct? Am I correct on that?
Well, the angle, it's not, I think it's like maybe 15 or 20 degrees off the wall.
Okay.
It's not a full 45. So yeah, I cut it and then nailed it in on the other side. And, so the one thing I did hire out for was drywall on this, because it was just way too much for me to do. And I was hoping that because I brought other people down there, because again, I just built this house and I had people from my, the builders of my house. And I was like, hey, because they were checking over everything, make sure everything was fine. I'm like, can you come downstairs real quick and look at this just to make sure everything's sound? And they're like, what in the world is this? And I'm like trying to explain what it was. And they're just like, I mean, it doesn't violate anything. You're fine. It just looks weird. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm sure your drywall guys loved you that you covered all the studs up too.
Well, I mean, you can see, it's still aligned where they are, because, I had to staple the mass loaded vinyl there.
A real drywall guy doesn't care where the studs are. He knows where 16 in the center is.
Yep.
If it was done on 16 on center. So, but yeah,
well, it's not all like that. I mean, because
right.
of there was other obstacles, like there's a big steel beam on one of the walls, and I was trying to get the speakers in a certain place and the sconces. I don't know.
And not only that, but your room's not always, the studs don't always fall that way.
Yeah.
So if you have a room that so those of you that haven't built the wall, Paul, we would know this stuff, Dave, right? Now,
I haven't built a wall. Okay.
Was that supposed to be a comeback of some type?
Then the left and the right speakers are also towed in. I did that with a laser, and I set a chair up and had someone sit there and aimed it at their opposite ear. So we got what I thought was the right angle.
Yeah, I like the way that you incorporated that, to angle in there. It's not very hard to do once you have the concept on how to do it, right? But some people just wonder what to do. And it looks like you just stuffed the whole back wall back there also with a bunch of leftover insulation.
Bingo. Yeah, I'm just throwing it back there. I'm like, there you go. And then this is the riser.
So where did you get the idea for where did you get the idea for the mass loaded vinyl? Because I actually thought about doing that too.
Just
prior to hanging the drywall.
I forget exactly where I heard about it, but I saw some tests online, trying to keep sound in. Like they had a box, one that didn't have mass loaded vinyl, one that did. They were testing out different installations, and I mean, it was noticeable difference. And it measured better. And I'm like, you know what? I can't go back and do it. I'm like, I've gone this far. Let's just give it a try. It's not going to sound any worse, I don't think. And I mean, I can't tell you if it would, sound less good without it, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to get it when I was building out my own room, but they're not cheap, man.
Yeah, it's not
Square
cheap, and it's
foot, it is
very
I
not
heard
heavy.
it's
cheap, and
I
it
heard
is
it's a bitch
heavy.
to hang too because it's
Yeah.
heavy and
I
Yeah,
actually,
it's
I
real
actually have one sitting in my garage because I wanted to get like a sample. I think it was almost like 100 square feet, like a 10 by 10. That thing was so heavy, it did not make any sense. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't be this expensive and this heavy, and then you want me to. So I just gave up on the idea. I was like, no.
so
Yeah,
what did you hang that with the weight and what type of fasteners did you use?
just a staple
You
gun.
just staple holds it.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh wow.
Just stapled it on the studs. It actually held up pretty well. But yeah, I mean, it's like rubber basically. I mean, it's only 1/8 of an inch thick, but it's got weight to it. So once I felt how high quality it was, I'm like, because I wasn't going to be able to double drywall use green glue because I was limited on width, and even though it was only another I used 3/8 drywall, right? No, wait, 5/8 drywall. Geez,
5/8, yeah.
in there, and I would have done another of that, even though it's a little bit more. I mean, that's another inch in there, and I'm already tight. I'm like, let's just use the 1/8 of an inch. Hopefully, that can make up somewhat of the difference for not doing double drywall and green glue. But I did use green glue to like caulk like the inside of the speaker cavity there and everything, and just
Mhm.
did it inside of the mass loaded vinyl as well. I don't know if you can see it's kind of like gluey in there, but because that stuff's like gum and it just kind of
Yeah.
slid in there and kind of kept it together.
Yeah, actually green glue makes an acoustic caulk also. That's what I purchased that. So it's like an acoustical caulk also.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Yeah, same kind of thing. And then this is the riser. It's only with the OSB on top, it's only 6 inches because again the ceiling in there is only 8 feet, and I didn't want it too high. And the main reason I wanted it is because for a clean look for outlets here, and then also I put speaker wire in each one of these in case I wanted to do butt kickers later down the line, just to have that option. So it was all pre-wired and everything. And then obviously put the R19 in there, insulation, and then started the paint.
Now is the riser all the way on the back, up to the back wall?
No. There's a big gap there. So the
So
room
how
is
did
about.
you get the speaker wire there without from like a sidewall?
Yeah, so I ran it. You can see that through through here and then all the way back. Obviously, I ran it before the drywall went up. I didn't do a very good job of documenting this with pictures. I just took pictures here and there.
No, it's
but
great actually. One thing that I think that YouTube lacks is this portion right here, right? Is the build and the design phase of all theaters, right? So a lot of us that are watching these are we're DIY. We would do a lot of DIY stuff too, right? So this is the part that I really enjoy getting into. So that's why if I'm asking too many questions on your build, I apologize, but I do think there's a lot of stuff that's
I can talk about
lacking
this
on
for
it.
hours. A lot of work. And
So
it's
yeah,
nice.
so your riser touches the sidewall, so that's how you got the wires there.
Exactly.
Any lighting or anything else? Did you do any lighting or anything else for the riser?
So afterwards there are LEDs, but the other thing about my room, all these outlets right here, these are all on a switch. So what I was planning on doing and end up doing is having LED just GoVs on panels, and this is for the riser, and it kind of sneaks there. So then when I turn them on, it'll all come on around the room.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this acts like, and at the time I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to do the LEDs, but people kept tripping on the riser, so I had to add them later, and it looks good. And I hid the wire, so you can't really tell. But
Okay.
back to your saying about the planning and the build out. I mean, I honestly think that was the most important thing of the entire room was planning everything to a T. And nothing major. I didn't have any major issues, and everything that I've wanted to do since it was done, I've been able to do because I ended up adding the butt kickers. I've got all the outlets I need, and all the lighting is on a separate circuit from the equipment. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that looks like you did a good job there with the electrical and all that.
Thanks.
Yeah,
You can see the OSBs on it there now. Those are the two sub coves, if you want to call them.
So
rooms primered.
one thing that I'm thinking about for instead of doing OSB, and I'm actually thinking of adding this across the. I finished the floor, or raised up the floor of the garage, and I used birch.
Oh
And
yeah.
what I'm thinking about doing, is just for spill purposes, is doing a layer of pre-treated plywood, or something like that, just for spills and stuff like that. I don't know. Did you what did you use, Ike, when you built your riser? Did you use pre-treat, or did you just go with a OSB or a plywood?
I went with OSB, and actually, I'm in the process of expanding. I've been working on that the last 2 days. I'm actually working to expand the riser because when I built it, it was just 4x8, right? And then when I put the couch on it, there's barely any leg room. So I'm working on that, and I'm actually debating on getting out the OSB and just using a solid thick plywood.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
was thinking about
lighter
it because,
than
like, if
using
my son
OSB.
spills something on it, I don't want it to warp and stuff like that, right? So I was thinking about pressure treat. I know Seabig was in the chat. He's a carpenter by trade. What do you think about that, Seabig? Should I use pressure treat it? Should we use pressure treat it versus OSB? There, is it going to make a big difference?
Yeah, because I had to use two OSB and then use a green glue in between just to hold them together. But I'm right now. I'm gonna have to tear up the carpet anyways, and then put a new one over it since I'm expanding it. So I'm just like, might just take out that freaking OSB
Yeah.
and just put.
I couldn't take mine up if I wanted to. I liquid nailed it down to the frame plus screwed it. So I didn't want any chance. So Seabig saying OSB does better with water. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because I think it's manufactured to deal with it, right? But it's
And
heavy.
if you
It just
put
makes
a
it super
if you
heavy,
put a
man.
pad, you just put a thin carpet pad on it, and a
On
lot of
there,
those
right?
come
Soak
with
it
an
up.
actual waterproof barrier.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And then
I wouldn't do pressure treated normally indoors.
Indoors, but yeah.
Well,
It's
if it
usually-
touches the floor, you got to do pressure treat it. So
but you usually cover that up, right? You're not
Yeah.
smelling it. It's kind of got a weird. And if you don't cover it up with, like drywall and seal it, it gets kind of a. I guess I don't know what's latest out there, but sometimes it can off gas some weird odors. But I don't know that it really. I don't know anybody that's used pressure treated for.
OSB will be cheaper, man.
Internal
That pressure is gonna cost you
outdoors
some
for sure.
serious money, man.
I went with OSB because it was cheap.
Man. Yeah, OSB is cheap. That's why I went with it.
Yeah, I used all pressure treated when I raised the floor in my garage, just in case the water backs up in there, or because I do live in a hurricane area,
and you're covering that up too. You're talking the framing though, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Because this is all 2x6 treated wood around here. And then I also I put the mass loaded vinyl I had left over, and I put it on top of there before I put the OSB on.
Oh wow.
There. Yeah. So there's no base residue or anything goofy going on there that I've heard that can happen in risers. I was a little worried about that, so I think we lucked out. So then we started the paint. Those are the wall colors. It's not that bright,
wall.
but
Oh, that looks
this is a better look
Yeah,
at
I see.
framed out wide
wow.
channel. You can see.
Yep. That looks great.
Man, I need to do
Yeah.
that, man. That just looks good, man. Because I have front wides too.
Yeah.
You built your column, so you just need to add the angle to the
Yeah,
column.
I just need to add because
Yep.
mine is in the column now, so I just need to. That would be a lot easier to do actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a nice job there. I don't know. Are we to the point to where you just want to do the reveal now, or you got more pictures? Because we're getting close.
We can.
We're getting close to what the final product is.
Well, there's another iteration. It was really
we can go back to it. Let's show the theater, and we'll go back to it after that.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna connect here. Allow back camera.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get out of here so you don't have that.
All right. So while he's doing that, yeah, that's one thing I think that YouTube is definitely lacking is the load process. So all right, looks like he's ready to go
now. Yep, we ready.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Clear.
Okay, so we're going down into the basement. I want to start it this way because right when you walk in, you're in my theater lobby here.
The ultimate man basement.
Nice.
That's
Wow,
amazing.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm an enormous Rocky fan. Popcorn, the little candy dispensers.
I like the can. Oh yeah, I like that. That's definitely nice. Got the movie poster
I like
going
that
too.
Door already. I like that door.
You got the pull handle on the door. That is super nice.
Yeah, it's a magnetic door I kind of built. And then this is just a 43-inch TV running that movie poster app on it.
Yeah.
You just have a little
you
mini
can-
PC on the back of there.
Bingo. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know if you can see it. It's just kind of chilling under there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you can control it with your phone. It's amazing. I'm a big fan of the guy who built that software is a genius.
And did you build that frame
It's
that
really cool.
goes around the TV?
Yeah, so I just took some common board and it's just like maybe like a 1x4 or something like that, and built a frame, and then took some baseboards and mitered a frame out of it, painted it black.
Look at the guy. Look at the guy
in.
saying he's not got no skills, but he just used the word miter.
So quick question.
Well, he started with no
it's
skill.
been
He
years.
had skills. He started with no skill.
Yeah.
So when you say you can control it with your phone, are you referring to the movie poster app?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
So you can just go into a browser and it's got an IP address on it. You connect in there.
Yeah, okay.
And I can just be sitting on my living room, download a new poster, like, hey, we're going to watch, the new Dune or something, oh, I need to get the poster. I can literally download the whole thing and feed it down here when I'm
To
upstairs.
the folder and then copy it. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now you can also link it up with like
I got that same
Plex.
sign.
You can link
got
it
that
up
cinema
with
sign?
Plex.
Yeah, my wife got it to me. Got it for me for Christmas. Yep, I got the same
It's
exact
awesome.
one.
Yeah. And so I actually just put that in about 2 months ago. Behind there and behind the TV are Casa smart outlets, and I can control those with the app on my phone too, to just turn this off and then turn that cinema sign light off as well. So that's very handy.
Yeah, I got to get my electrician to put me an outlet up there because when he wired, he didn't put that one. And I actually am doing 2 of those movie posters, one on each side. I have an outlet for one, but I didn't do the other. Yeah. So I'm sorry to cut you off there. You were talking about the movie poster. I got excited because I saw my sign lit up there.
Oh, that's fine. I was saying that the movie poster, you can link it up with Plex. I was hoping that you can link it up with, I think you can do Kaleidoscape, you can do Plex. So whenever you're watching, it automatically pulls it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I don't have that, but I know you can do it.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So
So
talk about
and
the
then
craftsmanship on the door. Look at that.
oh, I thought you wanted to hear about Bloodsport.
Oh
Paul was
yeah,
very
let's hear
excited
the
about
blood
this.
sport.
That's
Yeah.
me. I saw that. That looked amazing. I
This
was
is
like, oh,
the
I recognize
4K.
that. Kumite.
Now, did you
Where'd
guys
you
hear
order
that
that?
they're what'd you say, Jeff?
Where did you order that? Did you order from Grindhouse?
No, no, it was on Amazon. I just
Hmm.
went to the German Amazon and hoped my German was okay and ordered it. Hold on.
You can actually have Amazon translate everything for you because I order from Japan and the UK all the time and have stuff shipped
That's
over. So
awesome.
it'll give you the
This
option
thing's
to.
great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies
That would
also for
be probably my
martial arts.
next
It's got
purchase.
like books in it. Like there's even a message from Von Damme in it. It's like, welcome to the Bloodsport 4K or whatever he says. I don't know. It's
Oh
really
wow,
worth it.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's been my favorite new little thing. So did you want to hear about the door you said?
Yeah, I like that
Yes.
padding that you did there.
So there was just like a normal I mean it's a solid core door and then I wanted it to be thicker and basically completely pressurize the room. So I took the lock out and put a magnet up at the top. And I'll open the door in a minute. There's a reason I haven't done it yet. And then just took trim boards and put them. Well, I put the fabric on, and then trimmed the boards around, and then built this. Or I didn't build it, but bought this handle and just shoved it in there, and then. I'll open it, and there's a motion
What
switch, and
what
you'll see
uh
all the stuff that's in the inside.
what pound magnet did you use for that? You got one on the top and on the bottom?
It's just on the top actually, and I forget what I'd have to look at Amazon what it is, but I mean it's decently strong. It's nothing too crazy. So you can see
I
as
actually
I'm gonna
looked into
pull it
those
and
too. I actually looked into
it's
that
not too
too
bad.
because my son decided to run out of the house one time, so I had to put something at the top of the door to be able to stop him. And then I thought about the same thing for my theater too. So yeah, that's very impressive.
Yeah,
That's all
because
it
I
You
is.
bought
pay
I bought I bought a solid core door. The door that I have that I bought from Home Depot a couple of months ago, I found out that it started bowing. So now it doesn't at the bottom,
Oh
so
really?
it doesn't
Oh
clear.
wow.
So now I need to replace the. It doesn't close properly now, which is so annoying. I'm like,
Jeez.
man, it
you
worked
spent
before.
$52 on Bloodsport?
Yeah, it was something like that. I don't know.
Golly. I just looked it
That don't
up
include the
fast. It's like
shipping.
$2.99.
I would have paid $152, Jeff.
Yeah,
Golly.
That
I'm
that
looking
It's
doesn't
at.
the
include the
real
shipping
story of
either.
Frank Duke. The
I
the
think I
funny thing
spent like
about
That's
that movie,
funny.
Paul, I'm sure you'll agree with me. The stats at the
Hey,
end are the
that's
stupidest things
not
I've
that
ever
bad
heard.
for a limited limited release. That's pretty
I
cool.
spent
Yeah.
like $87 to import a 3D movie. I forgot what it was with the last one that, but
See
yeah, I
the
spent like
hoverboard. I see the
So
shield.
yeah,
I'm
we'll
getting
walk
all
in.
kinds of
So there's a
crazy.
motion sensor when you walk in. So then everything lights up.
oh
Oh
wow.
yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so there's a lot going on here. Hold on, let me turn the light on. I'll just go with the simple thing here first, by the Blockbuster sign, and then
Nice.
Too cool.
this is a built-in of all my 4Ks and Blu-rays here.
Looks like you need to build another built-in.
I'm not letting myself go more than this. If I get, I'm starting to overflow here. I'm selling stuff because this is too much as it is. And then I still have CDs as well. Um,
Nice.
Nothing
I'll
wrong with
tell you
that.
what, I was shocked. I took some of my old CDs and put them in, my Blu-ray player and played them in the theater. And I mean, it just is so much more dynamic than streaming. It sounds incredible in there. So I was pretty impressed with that. Okay, then if we start at the beginning here. We
Got the lightsaber.
Yeah.
got those. And then I saw these license plates on eBay a while ago, and I just made a little frame for them and everything. And then
Oh,
Elm Street, and
I
Elm
like the
Street.
Elm
I just
Street.
put,
Oh, with the
Nightmare on
glove
Elm.
too.
Oh,
Very nice.
spooky. Yep.
yep. And then we got
Very nice.
Cap shield,
Captain America.
obviously. And then this is the Back to the Future section. Got the DeLorean.
Have you seen the
That
floating DeLorean? It like spins and floats. It's pretty cool.
I did see that. Yeah, that was kind of neat. Cafe 80s, DeLorean, and then this is a hoverboard. It's signed too by
oh wow.
Christopher Lloyd,
Oh
Michael
wow,
J. Fox, Leah Thompson, and then Biff.
Awesome.
that
That
is
And
is
actually,
awesome, man.
this is held up with magnets. Actually, I've mounted on there with magnets, and it comes off. So if you wanted to, you could take it
If you
off.
wanted to
I don't think
hover
it
around,
flies though. I tried. It
there's the
didn't work
flux
too well.
capacitor.
Totally doing that for Christmas.
Yep. The flux capacitor, which, as we all know, makes time travel possible.
Yep.
That is
And then I got
awesome.
the almanac down there.
That is cool. I like that.
Back
That's
to
a
the
cool.
Back to the Future 2 was the first movie I ever saw in the theaters and was 89.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so a little sentimental there with that. And then my favorite movies of all time are Rocky. So I made that's from Rocky 2. The painting in the hallways from Rocky 3. There's obviously Rocky 1. That's actually signed by Stallone.
Wow.
Then the best movie of all time, Rocky 4.
Before.
Guy have the
Is that
trunks.
Dolph? Is that Dolph Lundgren in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Russian. Yep. And then make sure it stays on. And then the Rocky statue in there. I don't know how well that's
Awesome.
showing up, but
Yeah, we see it. Yeah. Looks good.
okay. And then that's from Rocky 5, Old Man Stallone. And then you turn around and you got bats.
Got the Dark Knight.
Yep.
That. Yep. That looks
I'm
amazing.
trying to get wider here. It's a little tight in the lobby. Hold on.
Oh man, that is nice.
It's on a
You did
timer,
a
so
fantastic job on that.
goes on. I didn't build the Batman.
Yeah, I'm just
This is one
saying
of those
the
hot
whole
toys, but
display.
I know. Thank you. Yeah, I just took some old flooring here, put it on there, and this is acoustic fabric I had left over to kind of just dress up the cabinet. And then he
Yeah,
moves in all different ways. And then
I like
I
that
put a
you
slot in
incorporated the
there.
lights and those little
Yeah,
lights.
this
Is that just like a plug-in, or how are those wired in? Is it like true electrical for those little lights?
so
Just
they're from Amazon and they plug in like in a normal outlet. So they're actually feeding down through the wall. I don't know if you can see that. You can see back there, everything goes in there. So they just plug
okay.
into the wall off of
I see.
something. Wave that. And then I just had a bunch of leftover wood and was bored and
Oh, that's awesome.
made this.
That looks like a diffusion
Oh,
panel to my.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
looks cool.
Tried my hand at a little bit of art.
Yeah, the red really makes it stand out too. That's cool.
Thanks. And then here's the rack. Let me make sure it stays on. Get some more light in here. So there's LEDs behind the rack. They'll probably go out here. And then I have my iPad that controls everything mounted there. It's just running the Harmony hub.
Okay.
And then
That looks good.
You went with a green instead of the traditional blue that everybody does.
I switch it up. I have it on Halloween colors right now. So there's purple and green in here. And then in the
Oh, nice.
actual theater, it's purple and orange, I
The
think.
green actually looks good.
Yeah.
I like the green, yeah. And then
All right, so
I'm gonna try that.
let's go top to bottom. What do you got here?
So that's AC Infinity. I forget, like a T something. I don't know. It shoots the hot air out the top, and then there's also a fan inside the rack that sucks the air out from the AVM out because it's getting a little hot. So I have a sensor here that's sitting on top of the processor to make sure it doesn't get too hot. And then you got, that's the Panamax MR4300 power conditioner. And then that's the Panasonic. Can you guys see that all right? Do you need more light?
Yep. No, we're good.
We can see
Good.
it. Yeah.
Panasonic EB 9000. That's good. And then the AVM 70 processor. Let's turn that on. See that. And then this is the speaker power. It's 4,000 by 2 watts. This controls the front. What is it? The SP 8000? Okay.
I think it's SP 8000, 2 times 4.
Okay. Those do the subs up front. And then 3 Outlaws. That top one's a monoblock that's just running the center channel. And then these are 2 7 channels. One does all the right speakers and the other does all the left speakers. So it's 15
Nice.
channels. So I guess it's, let's see, 9. It's a 916 system with 4 subs. And it's got a mini DSP. The subs have been calibrated by Brandon Hill. I don't know if you guys know him or not.
Yep.
Yep. He's well known. I know.
Well, no, I'm planning to get him to calibrate mine.
I assumed you guys did. And then Chad B did the projector.
We need to
So-
get Brandon on the show, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And then the one thing I actually last weekend finished something new in here with the, you were asking about lighting with the ceiling. So here, I'll kind of step back so you can, so there's curtain there. You can, you know, the rack gives off a little bit of light. If you want, you can just unhook these and close the curtain. And then you walk into the room.
And the acoustics get better.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah,
instantly.
probably sounds a little bit better in here, I would think. And I have all my Halloween blankets out. But what I did this weekend, I installed this like coffered ceiling with mini LED lights around it.
Oh, nice.
Wow, nice.
It's a weekend project for the amateur.
It was 4 days.
You lost your amateur
So tell
status when you started talking, when you knew how to stagger studs.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
or when he said the word miter, that was it, right?
Yeah,
So,
mine is
Tell
sore
us
and
about
all.
the dimensions of the room. I know you showed us the blueprint, but what do you have for dimensions? Post construction.
Yeah, so the width is 12 and a half feet. The depth is a little under 21. And I was going for what I guess is known as the golden ratio of taking, I think, is it the width times 1.6? I think that's what it is. I don't know. It's 3 years ago. So that's what I was trying to land on. And we got pretty close. So those are, and then the height is a little under 8 feet with everything. So
Okay.
probably about 7'10", I'd say. And then there's the 6-inch riser and the notorious hideous carpet.
So ugly. So ugly.
Oh,
It's not like
It
that.
looks
I don't
less-
mind it. I like it,
Jefferson
actually.
waiting for this one. Hey, Don, just stay out of it. Stay out of it, man. I'm staying out of it.
and I was saying this earlier, like, so I went to a local place to get carpet I really wanted, and they quoted it was a little under $5,000, and I'm like, absolutely not. That was more than my drywall cost. I'm like, that's insane. So I went to Lowe's, and I upgraded the padding on it's like real thick and cushiony, so it feels nice at least. But they installed everything with the carpet for under $1,000, and I'm like, done. And if one day I want to go back, I mean, it's gonna suck like clearing everything out to let them install the carpet, but I'll do that. That was not in the budget at the time. I had to buy
So
subwoofers.
are you not happy with the look, or is it mutual? Both your brother and yourself don't like it.
I like it. I mean, I just think it could definitely be better. I didn't want a plain color. I wanted some kind of design, but I didn't want it
I
to
agree.
be too busy either.
Look, you have matching
So-
throw pillows, man. I think you're just tired of hearing Jeff talk about it,
Yeah.
and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna change it at some
Yeah,
point
it
when I'm
actually
done.
goes together pretty well. I mean, I
The throw
get it.
pillows
It
match
looks a
with it.
little digital, so some people might not like it, but to me, yeah, it looks
Your
great. Actually.
Yeah.
diffusers also match with it, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
pattern
like
of
I
the
Yeah.
said, yeah,
diffusers.
it's a good choice for the room. It really is. Now, yeah,
It
Thank
is.
but
you.
it's all
It,
preference,
it
Uh,
you know.
the
So
one
because
the one
you guys
funny
know my
thing,
room. You guys know my
it's a
room's a
black
black pit,
hole.
so it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
black hole.
yep.
Now this is the Seatcraft cuddle couch, which some have dubbed as the human dog bed. I don't know if
That's
you
the
guys can
couch
see
that I
that.
tried to I tried to get Chuck Seabig to buy for the front of his rooms.
I'm
That
gonna get
cuddle
a
couch.
little bit more light in here,
Oh
So
yeah,
because
that's
the
another
better.
thing.
panels. So the panels. All right. So let's talk about the
Yeah.
screen. What's it's a obviously a scope screen.
Yep.
Which is when you have a smaller width on the room. I would definitely say, excuse me, when you have a smaller height, I
I
would definitely say go with the scope screen myself. So what's the diagonal on that? Do you know?
it's 142, acoustically transparent. It's a woven screen, and even when I'm sitting, if I'm in the cuddle couch here, I can't see any of the weave. It's a cheaper one. It's just the silver ticket, but it's a newer version, a WVS, I think. It had just come out when I bought it, so it's like the higher end of a budget screen. And again, this was more about, it was saving money. I know that there are better screens out there, Seymour and what's the other one? Starts with an S.
Stuart.
Stuart.
Stewart. Yeah, I couldn't think of that. And maybe one day, I'll upgrade, but the size was absolutely perfect because, I mean, we are, I don't know if you can tell, I mean, we are like a couple inches from the wall with a 3-inch border. And the other thing too, going back with a scope screen, it's a lot easier to mask. These are actually masking panels on the side.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm going to take it off so you can kind of see. Hold on. Oh, so they actually serve two purposes here. It's acoustically transparent, black velvet, and I just built a little hook, you know, holder on there. So it'll mask the side completely if I'm watching something in 235, 234, or 2.4. And then they just hook onto the top of the screen here. See if I can put it on here so you can see. There we go. Hold on. So you can see I have it on the left one there.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
they just slide over depending on what you're watching, 185 or
So
16 by 9 or
did you
whatever.
build like a frame outside of the screen also? Is that what we're looking at?
What do you
Or
mean?
is that just the
Like,
frame that came with the screen?
oh, you mean, so that's the frame that came with the screen.
Okay.
Like it's a
And
metal
how
frame.
wide are the panels? Because it looks like it's like 6 or 8 inches wide. Or is that just a wall blending in?
It's I think I mean, it's much more than 6 inches. It's at least a foot and I'd say at least 16 inches those panels are.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's
I can
definitely
see
wide.
that.
Oh. And that's
Yeah.
okay. So that's what you have on the side there. Okay, hanging on there. All right.
Yeah. And then there's a panel behind where that was hanging. And then there's one to the left of it. These are both absorption panels right here. Just one has lights, one doesn't.
Now, did
And
you
then
DIY those also, or did you purchase them?
yeah, this is all DIY. Every panel is except for the GIK fancy
The Fusion.
Gatsby ones here. Yeah, the diffusion gaps and the wave one. These two, like the sound wave, if that's what you want to call it. So yeah, everything was DIY except for that. And then the other panels. This actually was probably the best bang for your buck was building these sound panels. So there's that. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see those. There's three of
Yep.
them up there, and
Yep.
they're
Yep.
suspended. You got a little air gap there, so it's doing two things. There's absorption up there, then that black velvet helps the contrast out so much on the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, it really changed a lot. And I mean, it was only $60 probably to like build these panels.
And you just have them all. Like you said, it is a little hard to see this, but you just have them all pushed together so that you can so that there's no gaps in between or whatever.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
is
I
that
actually
or
had
is
to
that
get
one
because
solid panel?
so they're suspended. And I couldn't put up one big panel. So there's that, and you can see there's like little blocks there. I mean, they're wrapped in velvet, and just to make sure that they're all even. So I mean, it looks perfect when the lights are out.
So Chuck has a question for you. Can you go back to the cuddle couch?
Yeah.
So he's asking how far back is the cuddle couch from the screen?
Gotcha. Let's see, 11. I'd say it's probably about 8 feet
8, 9. Yeah.
from the back right there, 8, 9, something like that. Yeah. It's close, but it's not too much.
Yeah.
The big thing you're really losing is the sound. I mean, it's the main listening position. It's all calibrated for there, and it's significantly better. You're right there. I mean, you're getting the two subs in the back there. You're getting some bass. You hear the wides, maybe some of the height stuff, but yeah, it's a sacrifice in sound for sure.
So the
So we
acoustic
we we
panels, real quick, you have them floating off the wall. What did you use to mount them?
So there's four, I think there's maybe six chain and hooks that are there's like a drywall anchor into the ceiling, and then a little chain, and then no, there's no chains. There's just hooks. So there's two hooks on each side, and I'd say you got about
Yeah.
maybe 2.5, 3 inch air gap. I wanted to get it about as low as I can to obviously can't get it too low to block the screen. That's too dark. I'm not gonna be able to see it.
How about the one on the wall? The ones on the wall, because I can see the LED lights behind them. Right, it's not on the
Mhm.
side. It looks to be behind the panels.
Ex-
So I'm
yeah. So
curious how
there's
you have that mounted.
yeah, it's a French cleat. I'll take it off. Whoops. Well, the light came out, but you can see right there. I put a little
Oh,
bump
okay,
out to
okay.
get like an air gap.
So you just use drywall to create that. Okay.
Well, it's a
look
Oh, piece of
1 by
wood.
6.
Yeah,
A two
one
by
one
by
by
six.
six.
yeah,
Okay.
something like that, and then just slice that and just slides into there.
Ah,
And then
okay.
there's see lights are just on the back like that. Yeah.
Perfecto. Mhm.
Yep. And then this is actually one of the wide channels on the left here. Um, and then you can I'm gonna take this off so you can see the final product of that frame out. Oh, come on. Okay.
So what are those 4-inch panels? 4-inch wide?
Yay!
Yeah.
Look,
Got your
those speakers
monolith.
look familiar.
Yep. Do you have Ike? Do you have 9 of them on your bed layer?
Yes, sir. I have 9 of
That's what I
them.
thought. Yep.
I just don't have them angled, which is now you got me thinking of what to do next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yep,
fun.
that's the problem with the hobby. It's like,
That's the
ooh, now I
problem,
need to
man.
do that.
It never ends.
That's the great thing though, because if you don't think about that, then you got somebody else showing. You pick up little tidbits from everybody that does their theater, and this is why I love home theater tours. This
Yeah.
is my
Yep.
favorite part. My favorite part of YouTube is a home theater tour, because then you pick up little ideas here and there. I mean, the walkway is just fantastic. The entranceway, and then just little details like adding that angle, which essentially it's just ripping a board from one corner to the other, and opposite corners, and you get that angle that you need. So it's not very difficult to do.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh. My
So let's
wife
talk
is
about this. So you got monolith on the bed layer. What about the
Yep.
Atmos channels? Are you using monolith on the Atmos channels also?
they're monoprice though. They don't make a monolith in ceiling like that,
Yeah.
but it's still kind of similar. It's the monoprice 8-inch 15-degree angled speakers.
Nice.
Okay, and it looks
So
like you
that's the
put some
back
bass
surround.
trapping in the back there too. Is that what that is? The wedge bass trapping?
Yep. Yeah, there's I almost tripped over a riser. um yeah, so that goes all the way. And because of the way this is, framed out, I couldn't get it to be the same width across, and my control panels are right there. It's the Lutron switches, and then I've got temperature monitor with humidity and all that.
Nice.
So is that something that you consulted with GIK, or how did you come about your acoustic layout? You did mention Stephen
Yeah,
Smith earlier, so did he help you with
yeah.
that, or?
So Steven designed Jeff's room, and our room sizes are pretty similar. So I kind of piggybacked off of his design a little bit. I had a pretty good idea of how I wanted to do it. And then with the acoustic treatment, yeah, GIK, they did a 3D model of the room and told me exactly what and where to put everything. So that was a big help, because the only thing I really knew about was the first reflection. Other than that, I'm like, I have no idea, except for maybe like some
Right.
absorption in the back. I was like, oh, it beats me. And then I just started taking wood and, made these diffusers,
Oh, so
scatter plates.
you handmade that? Okay, I thought that
Looking
was a
neat.
Vicoustic.
No, I
I
made
know.
that. I made that. I made that. This is the two up here are pretty much just for decorations. I really doubt it's doing anything. I just, threw them up there. And then this big guy, this is actually, hold on. I just did this. God, I gotta turn those lights off. Hopefully that doesn't drown it out too much. Um, there we go.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
did that about a month or two ago. They're all 3/4 by 3/4 inch cubes on there, and there's 2,360 individual pieces, and there's 3 panels, and I screwed them into the joist and then built a frame around it.
What did you use to cut all that pieces?
A
Like
chop
I
saw.
just
tablet?
ripped plywood.
Whoa.
I mean, it's
Jeez.
tedious, but saved me probably $1,000 or whatever they're charging for something like
True.
this.
I agree. I agree.
And it's a little Saturday project. It
So it
was
looks like
easy. I mean,
a little Saturday project. 2,000 pieces. Little Saturday project. I can't hang 2 pieces of drywall on a Saturday.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say that'd be a half a year for Don right there.
Half of drywall. Jeez. We've been talking about this drywall since we met you in July.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
July. July of what? 2021? What are you talking?
Yeah, no, no,
Oh, man.
that's. I mean, so can you go back? I'm so sorry. Can you go back to that diffuser for
yeah,
a second?
yeah. Let me just try to get
So
some
the
a little bit better lighting on
so
it.
did you? It looks like a continuous piece. It isn't like one piece
Yeah.
screw in and then. So it
Nope.
looks like you did continuous pieces on that.
So there's 3 of them. You can kind of tell in the middle here because the one's just a hair shorter, but it looks like one continuous piece because I put that frame around it. I don't know if you can kind of see.
Yeah.
There's a
So are there
slight
like
gap.
3? Are there like 3 levels all together? Is that what you did, or to cut them, or I'd love to see a little bit more
You mean
about that, about what you did.
you mean like the cut each individual piece,
Yes. Did
like
you
each
cut? So
cube?
are they individual pieces, or because they look like
Yeah.
you look like you cut them? Okay. So each one's an individual piece.
Yeah, you might be able to tell right there. You can.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't look as tight on that side there. Yeah.
It's probably just the camera. So I just took plywood and then I have a table saw and just ripped off 3/4 tons and tons and tons. Just kept doing that, and then just put it in. Chop saw. Did all a bunch of different lengths, and I had bags of like wood blocks, and then I just took a bunch of glue and took another 3 sheets of plywood and just started laying them out, gluing them on, waited till it dried, and spray painted the hell out of them.
So the question that I have is, who helped you put that up there after that? Because that thing probably weighs 200 pounds now.
So good question. Each panel actually only weighs 25 pounds. So it's the whole
What?
thing's about 75. Yeah. I weighed it too because I was worried. It's under 30. And
Wow.
I actually, you're not going to believe me, I hung it up by myself.
Oh heck.
um, so it's on there. Each panel is up there with a French cleat that supports about 60. But once I had it up there, there's actually 2 joists it's sitting on. So I put how many, I don't know how many screws. I mean, it's screwed directly into the joist on top of the French cleats. Like it's gonna
So
take the
so it
wrath of God to bring that down.
so it slides in on the French cleat instead of just
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it slides in there once it was in place. I mean, the French cleat probably would have been enough, but I don't know. I was like, I'm not taking any chances, and I just took a bunch of long screws, bolted it into the front and middle of the joist on there, and it's in there pretty solid.
This is
Yeah,
home
very
theater.
nice.
There's nothing. There's never anything. You never have enough overkill. In other words.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
So
especially when if that thing falls, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that yeah. I'll
And
go look
then
for a German cleat before I find a French cleat to hang that thing.
Wow.
And then this is they're 418 deep sea sound subwoofers in here. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. These the 2 in the back have plate amplifiers in them. Those are each 4,000. Those are the SP 4,000s, right, Jeff?
Yeah, 4,000 watt plate amps.
Yeah. Yeah, I got those from him. So then I'm gonna take it back to the back of the rack so you can see all that and everything that's going on in there. Turn the light on. I got golden tea too.
nice.
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 Love golden tea.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
And then in the
MK2?
pool
Is that
room,
Mortal Kombat?
I got- yeah,
Oh,
I had
Ra-
Mortal Kombat. And then
Ralph is
this
in
is
the
the little
chat.
rack. That's the little rack that I have for the pool room. And this is just a Denon, a 2-channel Emotiva because I've got speakers at the bar that are on a zone 2, and then 2 crown amps. I've got 4 10-inch subs in the wall. Gets pretty loud.
Only you. The
Let's see the
funny thing,
pool room. Let's take it from
yeah,
from there you go. I like that. That's
he's a
nice.
speaker girl. I'm just kidding.
That's a bar size table?
Oh, it's an 8-foot table.
Oh, that is a full table then.
Yeah, they make
Nice.
The
nine
best part
foot.
about
Those.
the best part about his house was that I'm pretty sure that area was supposed to be a 3rd bedroom, and he's like, "Nah, who needs a 3rd bedroom?
It
We're gonna turn
was.
into a pool area."
Yep. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because the other side's supposed to be a walk-in closet. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna play pool.
Yeah,
Check out that cable management, bro.
it's
This so
impressive.
I have a picture of what it was before, and it was a bird's nest. Because I was like, I'll just do it while I'm installing the equipment. I'm like, absolutely not. I had to take an entire day aside and a lot of caffeine and meticulously do all this.
Yeah, that looks
Yep.
nice.
Looks
That would
good.
take me 6 months of get all that.
And then another thing, I just installed this a couple weeks ago. So that's just an AC Infinity fan so this power strip's always on. And then when you, no, wait, no, this is plugged into the Panamax. So when you turn all the equipment on, this fan shoots up, and it's because this is the AVM 70 right here. It sucks all the air out of there and just kicks it back there, and it's made a giant difference in how hot that thing gets because the amps don't run hot at all, really. It's just the AVM 70 was starting to get in like the low 90s, and I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah.
So we need to bring that down. And then each one of the theater chairs has butt kickers. So those are the 2 Dayton amps that are
Nice.
running those in the chair. And then the mini DSP is, let's slide back here, right there on the side. And then there's Projector just sitting in that makeshift budget 2x6 brace I made. He's
No,
just
it
chilling up
does the
there.
job, right? I mean, it's out of there.
Yeah.
You keep the noise floor low by it not being in the room. You
Yep.
know?
What projector do you have again?
It's the NZ, or not, the NX5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is I really want to go laser. It's just, those aren't cheap.
Nope, they are
Uh,
not.
so
You need an
But
I,
but
I'm
I
on my
think
second bulb on it.
I think there will be a lot of them flooding the market soon, though, with the
Yeah.
new JVCs that have come out.
Or even
A
the
couple of
newer
people are
ones
gonna
are
be,
cheap.
yeah,
You
a
know,
couple of
they
people are
have
gonna be
some price.
selling. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
One
new
other thing I wanted to,
MP5 is fair is not that expensive. I mean,
yeah,
and Z5 I think it is.
yeah, the new entry level laser that
Mhm.
they just showed that at Cedia.
Yep.
I like the accent you put on the side of your bar there. That looks. I'm assuming you did that as well.
The
On
what? What was it?
The side decoration on that bar seating right there. Isn't there a
Oh
decorative
yeah,
piece?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this I wanted to talk about this because this was I had to really think about how I wanted to do this. So I, like you were saying, back of the room there was a lot of room here. And I always wanted to be able to get at least 8, 9, maybe 10 people in here. But I was always worried about putting a bar in here because of sound reflections coming off the bar because it should sit right about here, And I'm like, I don't want that there. It's not going to be that often when we have people over. So I'm like, what's the solution to that? I'm like, I got an idea. So I just bought, this is just an IKEA countertop, 6-foot standard countertop. And I bought the Monoprice desk stand. So it always sits there. But if you want to have people over,
Oh.
Oh wow! So it's a
Yeah.
retractable
so then it
desk. Yeah.
raises up to standard bar height. And these
Genius.
stools go up too. Because all I did is I just took some MDF and some crown molding and baseboards and just dressed up the legs. So it looks like, a normal
Yeah.
bar with sheetrock. And then I just stripped. So that design, it's just MDF and I stripped them at different lengths and thicknesses and then painted it and glued it on there to make it look like a little design.
You did that
Yeah.
during your
Yeah.
lunch hour, right? That was a lunch hour
I
project,
actually
Nick.
did. I
Yeah.
did.
This whole desk was lunch. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But so that solves the problem of, well, I mean, I can't really tell if any sound bouncing off of there, but it goes really high.
Yeah. Those things
And
are
it's all
stand up.
preset.
Yeah, those are cool.
So that
We
goes
just got
what, 50 inches. And then when you're done, you just hit 1 and it automatically goes back down to where it was at. I think it's 33 is where it's normally at. But it kind of keeps
Can
it
you
out of the
program
way.
that for the space you want?
Yeah, any height you want, you can program it in there.
And your bar stools will go that high too to match.
Yeah, they're all adjustable. These are just from Amazon. These were pretty cheap. Yeah, there's just a little. See, they
Oh
go
yeah,
pretty high.
that is nice.
That is
Yep.
That's a great idea to be able to adjust that height in the back.
Yep. That's kind of what
Thanks. Yeah,
I'm.
it was a lot cheaper too because I went to like Home Depot and like getting a custom top and doing everything. I mean, it was thousands of dollars. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the tabletop here from IKEA was like $70. The desk stand was on sale at Monoprice for 200, and then I just used scrap MDF and paint. So I mean, literally, the thing cost me under $300 to do all that.
Yep. That's awesome. Yep.
I'm
That's
not going to let you know what I spent for my bar.
art right there. Right.
What'd you say?
I said I'm not going to let you know what I spent for my bar. I got mine from Macy's.
Ooh,
Oh God.
Oh man.
the fact that you just said Macy's already tells us.
Yeah. That right there is. Woo. Someone's got to pay for that parade every year.
Yeah, exactly.
Not cheap.
Yeah, Don's doing it. Yeah. Oh man, it's awesome.
Then
Yeah,
the one thing
this
that's
is
cool,
great theater.
I don't know if anyone else is using the Lutron with the Harmony Hub, but what's really nice is you can control all the lights in the theater from the iPad, which is really cool. So like here's the hallway, and just turn it off, and then you can, affect the dimming and everything.
That's awesome.
And then
Yeah, I'm gonna
and
have
then
to
everything
get
in the
some.
theater sconces, LEDs, the overheads, it's all in there. And then you have the activities. So if I hit we won't turn the projector on, but like I listen to a lot of music down here too, and I don't want to use any hours on the bulb, so I'll just say listen to music. So I'll hit that, and then it automatically goes into a light mode, and then the Panasonic turns on, and then if I had all the rest of the power on,
Right.
processor and all that stuff turns on. Yeah, so that's always a cool thing to pair the Harmony Hub with, is those Lutron lights.
So when you watch a movie, do you watch with the LEDs on, or do they dim down, or do they?
I turn
Do they?
everything off. Black as
Okay.
night. um, that's the thing. This theater, like, I mean, like you can go into a panic attack because it's as dark as you can get it. Just really cool.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
like
pretty
listen to
good.
music in here with all the lights on, and I can't all the lights off. I can't do it. I mean, because it's just too dark.
So the room itself, you decided for the width. What was your deciding factor for the width? Why you held it at 12, and the length? Because you said you had an unfinished basement, right?
Yeah. So is because of the steel beam, because right here there's a beam that runs all the way across the basement, like basically splits it in half. It's holding up the
Okay.
house, and there's poles. So I could go as deep as I wanted. It's just if I was going to go wider, I would have had to put the screen on this wall, and then now I'm limited with depth because I didn't want to have, because I'm OCD, to have that beam coming down, because I mean that beam, I mean it's at least a foot or so, and I would have had to build. I guess I could have done something like that, but it would have been a lot deeper. It would have been too much to mess with. And if I was going to go a lot wider, because I don't have the ceiling height, I would have maybe done it like another foot and a half,
Okay.
and it would have it would have dominated my basement. I wish it could have been wider and taller for sure, but yep, it's the compromise you got to make.
This is definitely a very nice looking theater. I mean, you did a phenomenal job on this. I mean, I love the fact how you angle the speakers. You on basically the front left and right, and then also the rear left and right, and then you know what about the Atmos? Did you do any angling on those, or how did you are they just straight
Yeah.
down?
The tweeter's angled because it's got that 15-degree. Let me see if I can take this off. That one's on there pretty darn good. There we go. So you can kind of see there how it's
Okay.
it's not straight down firing, but it's angled at the main listing position.
Yep.
No.
And those are monoprice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I initially bought those, but then I returned them and recently upgraded mine to the RSL. But they're good, man.
That's what
Those do look nice.
What LED lights are you using? Are those Govee? What
Yeah.
brand are those?
Yeah, they're all Govee. So it's nice because they got the app, and I can change the color on each one of them however I want. So I'm not limited by, you know, having to have sections of them. Each one are independently controlled. So that's pretty nice. And then
How about
there's
how about the sconces? Are they from you got them from Amazon,
Home Depot.
Home Depot? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
because
nice.
yeah, I recently built some pillars, and I'm looking to put some lights at the top of those pillars because I don't have any side wall lights. I just have in ceilings, and those
It's
look good.
crazy too how expensive sconces can be. That was
I
another thing that shocked
know.
me. Some of them are
They are.
hundreds of dollars a piece, and I found these
Oh,
were like 76 at Home Depot or something. I'm like, that's more my speed. I'll go with that.
Yeah, they are, and that's been kind of my holdback, right? Is I've always wanted them,
Yeah.
but every time I put these things in my cart, I just put them on save, save list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Save for later.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I have 6 sconces too that I wired them out, but I'm gonna see how they look with once I get the panel because I want to do a seamless room too, to where you don't see any. You're not even gonna see the acoustic. It's gonna be all fabric wall. So I don't know how those
Nice.
sconces are gonna look. You know,
Popping out of yeah.
popping out. Yeah, yeah. So plus
Then
I'm gonna have all the I'm gonna have all the LEDs on the wall and stuff too. So
Oh, that's cool. You got the butt
oh shit.
kickers. Yeah. See
Yeah,
that.
there.
yeah. I like
And
that. This I like. Ooh, yeah. Butt
I just made a
kickers.
brace for it. So this is it's on the actual frame of the chair. And I just took some wood so I could like really snug it on there. I mean, it's super clean. Nothing rattles at all in any of these because I got it right on there. I see a lot of people put a floorboard on the bottom. I think the way to go is to go directly on that frame of the chair. Press it right on there because you can see how it straddles that, and it's like
yeah.
right on there.
And I'm
So
sorry,
how did
I
you
don't know if
run the
you mentioned or
cables?
not. Go ahead, Ike. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just curious how he ran the cables to where the amps are. Is it under the riser?
Yeah, so they go right under there through the wall, just like the electrical, but it just takes a different path.
And okay,
Comes all the way back there, all the way back to those two amps on the side of the rack I was showing you guys.
You must have
yeah.
been reading the comments when I asked him that question earlier.
Oh, that mostly no.
Yeah. Yeah, we went over to the riser. That's okay.
I just giving Ike a hard time. So, and here's where I'm gonna, because I might have missed it too. What type of seats are you using there?
They're seat craft.
Okay,
I forget exactly. Again, they're not. I mean, I was looking at the Valencias and they were at least $1,200 more than these. I think I got all three shipped for like 2 grand, I think. And it's nice leather. It's like the actual like 7,000. I mean, it's not like top of the line, but it's not like the faux leather that cracks. So these
right.
are, let's see, how old are they now? 2.5 years old, and they're in pretty good shape. And I'm down here a lot.
Yeah, they still look good, definitely.
Yeah.
And
And then
do they all
Yeah.
get used a lot?
yeah.
uh,
So my fiance lives with me and her 10-year-old. So this is my seat. And then Margot, the 10-year-old, sits over there. And then Susan sits in this chair because they don't care at all about the acoustics. They're like, it's loud. That's all I know.
right.
Yeah.
And then the tray table, these are usually shiny. And it drove me crazy. So I actually wrapped it in black velvet.
Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah, I was sitting there and like I'm at the kitchen table and Susan's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "This, it's reflecting. I can't. It's driving me crazy. I got to wrap this up." She's like, "You're out of your mind." I'm like, "You better." I was like, "I'm gonna
Yep.
wrap you in black velvet when we're watching movies. You're giving off reflection." She's like, "You're out of your mind."
that
Oh
sentence
man.
almost had me worried for a minute.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Black
No,
latex.
Like,
no, 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 no,
it's
no.
like we're not rapping anybody.
Oh
No
man.
confessions, please.
Look at Aaron.
Oh goodness. So I don't know if you want to talk about price or not, but we all add up everything that we've done. Do you have a ballpark figure? And if you say yes, but no, I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about it more than that's perfectly fine. So
No, yeah. So the one thing it's because again, I'm counting in the room build itself too. So the drywall, the framing, the electrical, everything. Honestly, I'd say I spent a tad under 30,000 for the entire room because I saved so much on labor. And again, like these
Right.
monoprice speakers, I waited like there was some crazy deal. I think I got them for like 230 or something a piece. It was something super low. So that saved me a lot there.
How do you
Yeah.
like them? How do you like them? Because I think that's what everybody will want to know. How do
I
you like the
I
speakers?
I think they sound great. And when I'm mainly talking about the front stage because, and I've got pictures of what the baffle wall looks like upstairs on my laptop. They sound so much bigger than what they are. I mean, they're not
Yep.
small speakers, but they're not. They don't. I mean, it's not like they're JTRs back there. I mean, it sounds like I have a speaker that's from the floor to the ceiling. I mean, it's pretty dynamic, especially for the price. I'm very happy with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
can
the
back that
same.
up because I thought when I went there the first time, I thought they sounded a lot closer to the triads than I ever thought they would. And I think that's probably why I am happy with them using those as my surround speakers. I think they're both very similar sounding speakers, but I agree with what he said. They definitely sound bigger than they are. And I had the same I thought the same with the triads I had too. Like I kept thinking I needed a big speaker, but and I think part of that is the design of your room is playing a big part in that.
Yep.
Yeah,
You got to
Yeah,
name correctly, and they're low distortion. At the end of the day, they're made by the same. Their guts are from the same people that put
yeah,
out
same per
Progressive
listen
and Rental.
or Dan Roma, what's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yeah,
It's the same brainchild project of you know of an
Yep.
amazing engineer. So yeah, I love them in my room because when people listen and I ask them to guess the price, they're always telling me like, oh, 1,200. I'm like, I wish I bought them for
yeah,
like. I'm even mad that they bought them cheaper. I bought them for like what $360 a piece or so,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
now
It's
he
still
got
great.
them at two
They're
So,
something.
now they're retail for like 500. I think they
Yeah,
went
the
up.
price has gone up now.
Yeah.
so
So
when you watch a movie, are you watching at reference? Or you watch? How do you normally watch when you're watching your movies?
it depends on if or not, and if Susan can tolerate it. I go so I'm assuming it's reference. I have it at -20. I've never actually taken the mic in here and measured exactly what it is. Um,
that's pretty
we
loud to
when
me.
we yeah, and when we calibrated everything, we level matched everything at 75. And like measurements are a great place to start, but I just started messing with everything to my taste. And I think it sounds amazing now. I had to turn up the Atmos a decent amount. I thought the back surrounds were lacking a little bit. And another thing I do too is I know the big thing right now, and in Jeff's room, it's great too. These headrests are kind of higher. I actually recline it all the way down and I kind of like wedge, like I put my butt up high so there's nothing really obstructing my ears. So I'm kind of, if does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I'm kind of scoot my butt up so there's nothing in my path of my ears, and I fully recline both of these if it's just me in here. So it's
yeah.
loud, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Did
Paul.
Brandon
Paul.
Hill do the calibration? Did Brandon Hill do the
Yeah.
calibration? What did he think of the speakers?
I mean, he didn't say much. Like he was, I don't know if he was super familiar with the subs. He just said that I have a screenshot of the final calibration we did and like the drop off, which is like the house curve, I guess. I don't know. He's speaking all this technical stuff. I'm like, that sounds good. You know,
So what was it just the subs he calibrated, or did he calibrate your bed layer
we
speakers?
we did everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But
And then
the
you tweaked it after
subs.
that to your liking, or
Yeah, not the subs. I didn't really touch that, but all the other surrounding. Because I mean, he just level matched them. I don't know if you. I mean, I ran
right,
arc.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the
but
thing is
the
you know,
subs.
obviously it's people's preference, right? But when they level match everything, it's to make it to where you don't hear a speaker, right? It's just a sound coming, right? So when if you do raise the volume, and it's all total preference, right? If then you can
Mhm.
sometimes you might be able to locate the speaker, right? Okay, that's
Yeah.
coming from the right, and I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that too, because look, we don't pay a lot of money for Atmos and everything else not to hear the shit, right? So we
Yeah.
all right. I want to hear the damn rear surround, so I'm going to crank it up a little bit, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I totally understand that.
Yeah,
And
I did the same thing.
this, yeah. Yeah. And especially, I'm sure, I think the three of us at least have the AVM 70, and, you run ARC and you play, you're seeing that, and you're like, where'd the bass go? And you look at the setting and it's like a -10. I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no, no. We got to bring that up.
act diminishes your bass, man. It's like
Yeah.
it
And
trims it.
I actually, Steven Smith, Jeff had Steven look at my ARC file and he tweaked it. I don't know what he did, but it really helped. And I loaded that up, and yeah, I think everything's sounding pretty good. I'm sure it could sound better. And like we were talking about with the speakers before, like this is one of the reasons I'm terrified to like go to M Wave, because I'm going to hear something that's going to blow my mind, and then I'm going to go down, a $10,000 or $20,000 rabbit hole. Which,
So let
I,
me tell you this.
With the speakers you have, probably not, because I've been
Yeah,
going to M-Wave, and I
really,
honestly do not have. It was my projector that I wanted. I honestly do not have an itch to change these particular speakers.
good.
Yeah.
so
Okay, well,
And I
book my
felt the
ticket.
same way too. I started
yeah,
out, I came back and I was like, I want I want some Ascendos, or RBH sounded really good. I mean, the JTRs blew my mind. And then I came back to my room and I'm like, dang, my room sounds really good.
Yeah,
And I kind of shifted. I'm kind of like Ike. I'm like, what blew me away was the NZ 9, or not the 900 demo. Yeah,
the
the NZ
NZ
900
900.
demo. Like, so then I realized, well, gosh, an 800 will be plenty. So like, it's it's now the stage of like, what can I do to enhance the room, right?
yeah,
The bass is great, and I think the speakers are. I'm the same boat now. Like, I thought I wanted speakers when I left. I think I even texted Dave and I said, oh, I want JTRs now, or I want this. And then I got home and I was like, no, I don't. I don't need those suckers. My room's perfect.
Yeah,
So
like going room to room to room, like when you have a well put together room, like you guys do, you have well treated rooms, everything you've done as much that you can do, pretty much for the treatment, and you making those speakers sound as best that they can. When you go from room to room at M Wave, it's the same thing. They have super high end processors, right? That with the AVM 70 is a fantastic processor. And when you're going from, let's say, Focal to Germani to Ascendo to whatever, when you're watching movies, there's not a huge difference at all. But you can hear a difference in the score. You can hear a difference in the 2-channel music when they play. SVS. All those speakers fall, and I've said this several times on this show that you know it's tough to find a difference when you're watching the same clips in all those different rooms. I mean,
mhm.
there is it's very tough when you're going from room to room to room. So I agree with you. Like that. You may not. So you may hear some higher. More I guess more pronounced highs,
yeah,
with like a beryllium tweeter or something like that.
yeah.
That's but if you're going soft dome to soft dome or air motion to air motion, there's not a huge difference. Paul, you
Yep.
feel the same?
Um, yeah, I mean it's just a volume competition.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's what it boils
yes.
down to. They're all. I mean,
Mhm.
dude, I literally had the cheapest Klipsch like line, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't sound even twice as good. Yes, there are certain things that sound better, but I'm like, dude, you're talking the difference between a total of maybe $3,000 in speakers, and that your starting front row is like 30 grand, and I'm like, there is not that much difference in quality. So, but I mean, I've changed and upgraded throughout the years and stuff like that. And it's it's about the experience. It depends on what you're going for, right? Like to me, I believe you could literally go out and buy JAMO speakers, and those are cheap. People call them garbage, but you could still have a good experience at your home with the cheapest of gear. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure, there's tons of upgrade, there's tons of room, but you get that surround effect, and it
Mhm.
really, it's like, oh wow, this is totally different than just a mono speaker or a stereo speakers blazing out of a TV. So it's all about the experience, and
Yeah,
yeah, you can always compare, right? You can always.
and very few people listen that loud, right? Like when you go
Oh
to an
yeah,
Amway
yeah.
or a
That's,
CDR.
and you get into measurements. We love measurements. It just keeps people
Yeah,
accountable. But in
and
reality, it's like, dude,
yeah, and even for those,
99% of people that come into your theater
yep.
don't even know what frequency means, let alone
And
measure.
even for those special demo scenes that we like to tout,
Yeah,
right? Is like there's only very few movies that will really help you benefit from, you know, the amount of money you get to spend. Like Big Jack said, you'll probably notice more difference in the bass, right? To me, that's where you probably want to even invest
yep,
in. But
yep,
like I would constantly invest in the bass, but the in walls, I mean, except if Pearlison calls me now and says, "Oh, we want to replace all your 9 bed layers," and I'm like, "Yeah, thank you."
yeah,
You're
But
yeah,
not gonna
yeah,
say no to that.
yeah,
Right.
but I'm
yeah.
not. Yeah, with all the shows that I've been to, I haven't come back and said, you know what, man, I need to start
And
looking
I'm
for.
going to support exactly what Big Jack said there. When I went to Best Buy and I demoed, because I wanted bookshelves, because I at the time when I started purchasing, I didn't think there was a good enough in wall out there, right? Um, Besides a triad or something like that, that was super. The golds are they can be pretty expensive, right? So when I started listening, I listened to the Martin Logan in walls, and then I listened to the bookshelves that was directly underneath of them, and I definitely got more bass out of the bookshelves with that I had. So, um, but in a home theater setting, you are going to cross them over anyway, right? So you're pretty much, as long as you got subwoofers, you're going to cross them over. And I know now with these some of these new square Ascendo, they're really pushing that up. Like I think they were pushing it up to almost 200 hertz in the Cedia room, to try to help out with some of the bass from the other. So I don't know if that's something that may come along. You know how trends are, right? So some people may want to do it or not. But one thing that we did gloss over in Dave's theater is the fact that he's got 418s in that room.
I know.
So we
We've
we
got
we did.
plenty of
So I'd imagine that thing is doing some damage, because Chris, who was on here last week, fell in love with just 218s.
Yeah,
Prior to getting the 224s. So,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of? You said you don't really do a lot of measurements or anything like that, but when Brandon was measuring your subs out, did he try to push them to see what kind of SPL and stuff you could get?
we got him down to 12 hertz pretty comfortably. It, again, I've never heard single digits, and 12. It was weird. I'm like, let's roll them off at like right at there. I don't know how loud they were getting. I mean, it was that's the one thing I remember him saying, like this is really loud. I mean, I think it was, I forget what it was because he did this I think like over a year ago, but they were loud. The one thing I'll say about having four of them, because I started off with two, there were just two in the front. When I added the four and we did the mini DSP one, I mean, that whole room could be rocking, with the 2, but I was pushing those drivers pretty hard. With the 4, they're hardly working, and there's even bass response wherever you go in the room. That's the one thing that was the
Yep.
biggest difference.
Mhm.
Now, seat to seat, the sound, that middle seat is money. The other 2, even on the left and right, you can tell a pretty big difference. But the bass is solid. And the butt cookers really help too, because I'm on concrete. And I mean, you get some tactile, but again, you got to really push it. And it seems like the ceiling is going to cave in for the levels you got to get. So, have that, enhance it a little bit of help with the transducers or the butt carriers, whatever you want to call them, and turn the bass down. It sounds really good. As long as you implement them and you don't turn the butt kickers up too much and that takes over. Just got to be just the right amount.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm hoping that's because I do like the tactile feel too. So, and I'm on concrete also. So, well,
You
half
have
of the floor is going to be wood, but my couch will be on concrete also. Couch and the riser. You may feel something in the riser. I'm building a 15-inch riser, so I may be able to get a little something out of that, but not
you
sure, not sure entirely. So
I would definitely plan for the butt kickers. It
yeah,
was, again, especially for the price, like those Dayton, and again, I've only got them up maybe halfway, and the setting in the AVM 70, I'm just at 0, and it's like halfway. It's more than enough.
yeah,
When we were talking about, I was thinking about this before. We were talking about speakers and subs and everything. I think about how nice how everyone likes the monoprice, right? Dave and I both have them. I've got them as side surrounds. I guess I can probably nail it down. I'm a big believer of, or I enjoy using. I think the speakers that are really designed for quote unquote home theater, right? That are built to integrate with subs, an LCR monitor series, style speaker, whatever you want to call it, because that's what those are, right? They're good to about 80. Maybe you go down to 70, but then you really need to hand them off to a sub. And I think when you do that, I think that's what really lets the speaker do what it does well, and then the subs do what
right,
they do well. Some people argue and say, no, you want your LCRs to be full range or dig deeper for mid bass, but you go out and look, mid bass, the region the mid bass hits is pulling from the subs most of the time. So, and having dual 6.5s or just dual 8s, they're gonna do a better job sometimes than some of the bigger drivers. So I just want to throw it out there. Like, I think that's a good starting point, and I think a sealed speaker too is big for LCR. Not necessary, but I think can go a long way. And I think that's kind of why I've been enjoying the triads in my room and with the subs I have and stuff. I just think like they just integrate real well together, and this goes a long way for sure. So I mean, um, I don't listen as loud as David does. I believe reference on the Anthem is -10. I mean, -25 is plenty loud in my room. So I'm on a second
yeah.
floor too.
So Jeff, question for you after going to your brother's house and seeing what he did and everything else, does it desire you to do any upgrades in your theater, or
Well,
you know do you have any like craftsmanship thoughts, or kind of like Ike said, does he's going to go build those columns now? Do you have any desire to make any changes, or are you completely satisfied with what you have?
I think I'm going to eventually add kind of a ceiling panel, a cloud panel, so to speak, to
Hmm.
serve a couple purposes. Number one, I still have a lot of staples as I look up that I've not been able to get rid of, because I have the velvet above there. And when I was talking with Chad B, a couple weeks ago when he was in town, we were looking at the ceiling, and I was like, he goes, yeah, he goes, I bet you would just eliminate just enough. You might like what you get from an audio standpoint. He's like, nothing's lacking, he said, but it might just clean it up enough and be subtle enough that it would help. So that's something on the radar for sure. and I probably rushed some of my panels a little bit, so I may go back and clean those up in the room. But of course, the closet is still a work in progress, so that's I'm gonna probably lean on David to help me build some movie storage, maybe an entertainment center.
You can do something really cool. I mean,
we could do it in 4 hours, right? So
maybe 5. But I could come down for a weekend. That'd be fun. I mean, I could bring my saws down and stuff, cut it up, make it really cool. I offered to build you a diffuser too.
Yeah, he did. But I think that would be what I would do next. I mean, the room, like I mentioned when I did my tour video, like I'm at a point now where like I just want to add value, so to speak, or enhance it. That's why the Kaleidoscape is right around the corner. Probably a laser projector is going to be come after that. And,
I'm going to shamelessly plug. I am a Kaleidoscape dealer and I do sell JVC. Just to let you know.
Yeah, perfect. But
hey, Dave, if you're gonna build me a diffuser, I'll pay for the shipping.
Hey, Christmas is right around the corner,
Hank. But the room, I built my room, so it would be really hard to change anything out or really have a need to. I can just enhance it. Like if I do when I eventually get, I'm thinking the NZ800 is going to be where I'll land on a projector. I may look to change my screen material out.
Let me know. I may give you a good deal on mine.
Okay, there you go.
Because I have the NZ800. I think I got like maybe an hour on it, and I want to go to the NZ900. So I have the NZ8. I don't have the 800. So I have the NZ8.
But you started with a different
one. I was
like, this will be his third projector.
I'm like, bro, you got 3 in the box now.
But I have the NZ8. I want to go to the 900 with the wider with the bigger glass.
So Chad was telling me like he's my go-to guy, and he was saying he has been super, super impressed with all the JVCs he's done. Like the quality control he thinks has gotten much better. They are, he was telling me, and he's told me this for years, like he could have 3 calibrations on a trip of all the same projector. All 3 would do crazy different things. You'd have to compensate for this or this would happen. He has said these have all been easy to calibrate, and he's just been blown away the quality of them. And he also mentioned that he's been calibrating them on the newer Seymour screen material. I've got the Center Stage XD, which is a higher gain, but there's one right below it. But he said just looks just so much better. And he said my room would be perfect for that material because when I get a bigger projector, I'm not going to need to worry about the extra gain I would get from it. So, but yeah, those are, and he's a guy. I mean, I've been using him for 20 years. The guy knows his stuff. So, but yeah, those are what's down the road. Kaleidoscape's next, and then we'll see where the journey takes us.
Nice.
So, Dave, one last question for you before we wrap this up. And this show seems to suck you in, Jeff. You wound up staying until 12 o'clock. Anyway.
Yeah, it's all good.
But if you had a chance to change anything or do anything differently, what would you do differently in your theater?
Well, I mean, honestly, when I was building the house, I did have the option to do 9-foot ceilings, but it was, I mean, when you hear it, it was like I think it was $16,000 or $18,000. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'll come with a shovel and dig another foot of a hole. Like, that much? Like, what? And it like made me mad, and I didn't do it. But I wasn't thinking like over 30 years. I mean, I would have liked to have, a higher ceiling in there. But from what I could have controlled, I would have built, and I also want to show you a few more pictures. The baffle wall behind my screen, I probably would have done it a little bit different. Well, you guys saw the framing. Because if I ever want to upgrade that, I'm going to have to, if I'm going to get different, bigger speakers, I would need more room to get everything back in there. I'm kind of limited. And I mean, I could rip the entire wall out and do it, but it would just be nice to have a big cove where I could just throw like a tower or something like that, and probably get those subs. They're on a platform and they're on rubber, but to get them up a little bit higher. That's probably the number one thing I would do. And if you want, I can share. I was going to show you guys just a
go
couple
ahead.
more
You can.
pictures.
You can.
Yeah. The first is this.
We're
is
just
the
keeping
bird
Jeff
nest.
up longer. That's all.
Yeah, Jeff can go to sleep.
That's the bird's nest behind there. Again, you know, this is a nightmare.
It's amazing when like I just moved my office and you just for a simple monitor and like a docking station, and it's amazing how many wires you got to have, just different power cables for each thing, HDMI cable for this. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That's a good,
that looks nice.
So this is, and it's a little bit different now, but you can kind of see like this is angled in. I've just got a little bit of room there. The center channel's prominent, 2 subs. The screen obviously hangs right here. And I've put acoustic panels around here too. And I bumped out the screen about 3 inches because I think I was getting a little bit of reflection in the center. And I'll show you a little bit. I don't know if I have a picture. I put like two 2x4s across here and across here to bump it out. Those
That's
3
that's exactly what I did too. I had to do that too.
Yeah, it really did help a ton. I could tell immediately. But this is the first iteration of the theater. This is what it looked like, right when I got my seats in. And I was like, all right, this is great. I'm done. Nope.
Yeah. The diffusion panels give a room so
much ambient beauty. Just makes it look so really different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to invest in some, but these things I put them in my cart and they just sit because I don't want.
You know what? I was looking at a CNC machine the other day.
Oh, jeez.
So I love doing stuff like that. Working with my kind of like building and that's why I haven't contracted any of it out. I can do it, but I just love doing it myself when I have the chance to do it.
Yeah, those things are super nice. They are very expensive, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like a tabletop one that I was looking at that didn't seem to be terribly expensive. So it wasn't like I couldn't fit a full CNC machine, but.
So I added some panels there. And then these are the panels that are in front of the screen, the cloud panels. So that's how they're constructed. And there's insulation that goes front to back here and across. And then I left the 4 corners empty.
So 1x4.
Yeah. 1x4 boards. And then that was the process of hanging the first one, and we went all the way across.
So you just use like some eye hooks? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they're like, I guess you would call them that. They're just, you just drywalled in and you screw in the hook, and then there's another hook that goes into the board and you just kind of clip it on there. Yep. And then this past weekend. I was trying to get this ready for you guys. So I took out I had 4 6-inch lights that were in there. And then I made all like 20 brackets to kind of line out where I wanted the drop to be. And then I did all the electrical to, link all the lights together, because there's 8 1-inch lights. And then, patch those old holes and everything, coming along a little bit more. That's from the front. And then put in the crown molding.
That's a bad word for most people, crown molding.
Oh. It was, I never cut crown molding. So that was a little tricky. Like, you got to do it upside down, and you have to have your line on your saw exactly where, you got to be precise every time, or it doesn't line up at all.
Most people just cope the back, which means take the back of it off, and that way they don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, I figured it out though.
I coped my crown molding. That's what I did. Yeah.
So, well, I did I did this far corner first, and it's a little bit of a nightmare, and I just caulked it together. And then by the time I got the hang of it, I did the inside corners, and they're actually almost perfect. So it's, again, the whole thing isn't perfect. I still got a couple gaps to fill, but it does the job. And again, turn the lights out, the Disney effect. Can't tell.
Right. No, it
So-
turned out fantastic.
Thank you.
yeah.
It looks
So-
amazing.
Here's my question, David. What's the next thing you want to add or upgrade in the theater?
Definitely the projector. I want to go laser. That's the only equipment thing that's on my radar realistically. I mean, having a kaleidoscope would be nice, and I would mainly use it to get like brand new, really new releases and have the lossless audio in the picture. I mean, that's the main thing I would do. It's just, it's almost impossible for me to wrap my head around even a $4,000 unit for the ability to rent. That just is crazy. I'd rather just buy the disc and then sell it and just go through that hassle rather than drop 4,000. I mean, it's an incredible system. It is definitely a luxury item. Maybe one day we'll see.
Yeah, you'll have one. You'll have one soon. I just feel it. You're going to realize how cool it is.
I think I'd get a Mad VR before the Kaleidoscape even at this price point.
And I'm a dealer for Kaleidoscape, and I'm not a dealer for Mad VR, and I would say yes, you go Mad VR first.
Yeah, you get more. We talked about it. I think you see a more
noticeable improvement.
Yeah, I mean, just a simple Aura Lumigen, just that aspect ratio changing is awesome, because right now what I do is I just do the budget. I just mask, like if I'm watching a Nolan movie or something that's switching aspect ratios, I just mask the top and the bottom, zoom in, black it out. Most of the time you can't tell. I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but it's better than, I don't like putting in 16:9, having bars, and then I'm like, I'll just fill the screen.
One thing we didn't talk about was the aspect of your screen. What is your, is it 235, 240?
It's 235. Yeah.
So it's 235. Okay.
Yep. And I've got like 5 different lens memories on there. I switch around with. Yep. So that's the only negative, with that is just the aspect ratio, because I love the Nolan movies and he likes switching aspect ratios. So
yeah,
if I had the room, I would definitely do a 16:9, but I don't have the height.
You could just go floor to ceiling. I'm seeing more and more floor to ceiling screens now.
The viewing angle might be a little bit off though, because of that cuddle. I don't know if I could kind of, someone's head's there. I don't know.
Maybe. Look, I've always been the person that says I don't want to see my feet in the movie, right? So if I'm lounged back, so I thought about doing the full, because my ceilings are 9.1 at the low point, and I thought about just going floor to ceiling with it, as big as I could go. And then you can just mask off what you don't need, right? So that's always been what I've said. Get as big as the biggest 16:9 that you can fit in there, and then you can build masking panels fairly easily with duct board or foam board to do what to mask off what screen you don't use, right? And what screen your projector will allow you to do, right? Because obviously you want to have, maybe not full HDR, but you should have some kind of HDR there, right, to give you the proper lumen output and stuff like that. So if you're watching the 4K movies.
Yeah, with the laser, I again, like Jeff was saying, the NZ800 I'd really like to get, because my HDR will be so much better. I'm utilizing the HDI optimizer on the Panasonic, and that does help, but I just need a brighter projector. Because I'm 142 inches on an NX5 is really pushing it.
Yep.
Yeah, you are lumen deprived. And hey, another perk of the
what's the lumen count for that, for the NX5?
I would say like
1,500, 1,600?
1,800 maybe.
I think it's 1,800. I think that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Jeff, is yours 2,200? You have the 7?
I don't think mine's over 2,000. I don't know what the NX7 was. I feel like I thought mine was like 1,900 or 2,000 maybe.
NX5, let's see. I'm looking it up now.
But David, the one thing you can do with Kaleidoscape is
1,800.
You can download when you download a movie, you can download a 4K SDR version of it. You lose the
Saw that
HDR, but you get the brightness back. And I saw the guy showed me that at M-Wave, and I was surprised how close it looked. If you didn't see it side by side, I think you'd have a hard time.
You mean compared to Dolby Vision?
Just HDR
Um,
general to
HDR.
SDR. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it Dolby Vision, but I mean, just on your projector, like it uses your Rec 709 profile it used for Blu-ray, so it'd be not as bright as a Blu-ray would look on your screen. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so now you just justified the cost. Let's order you one.
Mad VR will do it better, I'm sure.
It's not going to give you the brightness though. The Mad
Yeah,
VR
Mad VR
will
doesn't
tone
give you
map
that.
properly, but it's not going to give you the horsepower that the
Contrast
projector
and
does.
brightness is going to stay the same.
Right.
New projector, number one for sure. If you see a cheap NZ 800, you let me know.
It's all
Well,
relative. Right?
Dave and Jeff, hang on for a minute. But everyone that has joined in the chat, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. Paul, welcome back again. Thank you so much for sharing your scary adventure that you had there with tires hanging over. Jeff,
it was
appreciate
fun.
you joining the show. Dave, thanks so much for the fantastic tour. Really appreciate it. If you guys would like to be a guest on the Home Theater Hub show, go ahead and hit us up at hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. And we'd love to tour you, love for you to give a tour. It doesn't have to be, a $30,000 system. It could, whatever you enjoy. If it's a sound bar, if it's whatever you do to pass your time, we would love to see it. So we'll see you back here next Thursday. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, hang on, Dave and Jeff, and thank you for watching.